Hey there, welcome back to the Beauty channel. Today we are going to build this beautiful SaaS cloud file manager application, and this is completely responsive. And we are gonna use Next.js, Tailwind CSS, React, Firebase, NextAuth in order to build this application. And this particular application is completely beginner friendly, so anyone who don't know about Next.js or React can learn this particular course. Okay, so before going into the detail, let's walk through the application. Let me log out from the application first, okay? And then once you log out, you will see this beautiful login page. It's simple, okay? But it's just covering the all the concept which you want or which you need to build in your application. So if I go to the login, just click on sign up and just I can log in with my account, okay? Once I log in with my account, you will see this the folder which I created with this account only, okay, and the file which I uploaded. On the left hand side, you will see this beautiful navigation bar, okay. It has an option to add a new file, create a folder, the home section, and these are the just dummy menu. Then we have the recent folder which we created on this home screen, okay, and these are the recent files which I created. For example, if you want to create a new folder, just click on create new folder, and we can give new folders name like YouTube videos and just click create. As soon as you create, you will see this beautiful toast message is showing on the screen, okay. And if you see, right now I am on the home screen, that's why it's showing the uh, folder created on the home screen, okay. And then you can also upload the file which are stored in home screen page, okay. Let's go to the YouTube video, and here right now you don't have anything, right? So that let's try to upload a new file. So let's click on here, and let's just upload some file, okay. So I will upload this ppt file, I think. And if you see, its file is get uploaded, okay. Now I have one file. If I go back, if I come again, go to the YouTube video, you'll see the file. I can even download, just click on it and you will get download from the internet. See, also you can create folder, right? So this navigation bar act throughout the application. So it will, if you are in the this particular folder, it will create a new folder inside this YouTube video. So let's see. So here you can say thumbnail and just click create. See, it's get created, right? And now here you can upload your own file now, right? So let's upload some files. So here I will upload this file, okay. And let's refresh the screen sometimes, yeah. And if you see, the file is get uploaded, and if I open it, you will see this beautiful image which we uploaded just now, okay. Now you can create a folder again here. Not only this one, right, but you will see how much MB I use from the my quota, right? So right now we are giving just 50 MB of space, and I'm using 2.2 MB because this all the file we uploaded is of worth 2.2 MB, okay. So guys, and we will see this login authentication also, and here you will get the, once you log in, right, you will get information from here. You can have log out button, and lot of different technology we are going to learn in this particular course. And if you are new on my channel, please do subscribe and press bell icon, and watch this complete video. If you have any question, any doubts, let me know in the comment section. And also the source code of this particular course is completely free, and you can access it through the GitHub. So link is in the description again, okay. And let's talk about the technology now. So for this application, we are gonna Next.js. The Next.js is one of the best React framework in currently in the market. And if you don't know about the Next.js, how to use it or how to create app, how to start it, don't worry. I'm gonna teach you everything from the basic. Then after that, we are gonna use Firebase as our database. Okay. Also, we are gonna store all our assets, files, folder on Firebase Cloud. So it's completely free. Okay. And if you see in the file store is also free. The storage is also free, and you will get a 5 GB of storage on the free, right? So that's efficient for a small scale project. Okay. Then we are going to use Tailwind CSS. So again, Tailwind CSS is one of the most popular UI framework currently in the market. And if you don't know how to use the Tailwind CSS, don't worry, we're gonna learn everything. Okay. For the authentication, we are going to implement Google authentication, and for that we are going to use NextAuth.js. It's quite easy to implement, and I'm going to tell you how to use it in our application. Okay. And last but not least, the icons, because we are going to use different icons, and for that one we are going to use hero icon. Okay. So it's quite easy to use. You don't need to install any dependency, any library for that one. Just copy it and paste it in your application, whatever the icon you like it. Okay. Obviously this whole application is a React application. Okay. And we are going to use Next.js as the framework. And before doing any further delay, let's begin. And if you did not watch my this previous video, please do watch. It's quite interesting. So guys, let's begin. So we're gonna use Next.js in order to create our next React application. Okay. So let's go to your desired folder where you want to create the project, and open cmd by typing the cmd like this, and it will open the cmd. Okay. Here, just type npx create React, no sorry, it's Next App. Okay. And enter it. Then it will ask, do you want to proceed? Say yes. And then it will ask the project name. So in this case, I will give file manager, cloud file manager. I will say cloud file manager. Okay. And then save it. Then it will install all the dependency which we require, like React, React DOM, Next, right? Because Next is a framework based on the React. Okay. So we'll wait for a few seconds. Now, if you see, our project is created. So let's go to the project folder by typing cd and the name of the project which we created. Click enter, and now you are in project folder. Now in order to open your project in VS Code, just type code space dot, and then it will open the project in a VS Code. Okay. So here is the project, and here you will see all the project files and everything is open in VS Code. Now let's understand the file and folder structure. So if you see, we have this pages folder. Okay. And inside the pages folder we have API folder. Okay. And then we have underscore app.js, which is our starting point for the application, and all the pages components is going to render in this particular component tag. Then we have default page called index.js, right? If you go to the URL, the default URL or domain, right? The obviously if you define the index.js in the pages, this will render first. Okay. Then we have public folder where we can say of our all images, assets, like videos or images, whatever, right? Then we have styles folder which contain the global css. Okay. So if you want to apply the styling throughout the application, you can define it here. And then we have the next.config.js where we will store all the configuration regarding the next application. Then we have packet.json which contain the dependency, the script in order to run and build the application, and so on. So let's try to run this project. So in VS Code, you go to the terminal and click new terminal, and it will open the new inbuilt command prompt for you. Okay. Here you just type npm run start. Okay. And then it will open the, or it's npm run dev, sorry. And then once it run, right, it's opening the port 3001, right? Because my port 300 is already in use, so it's open the new port. Okay. And which is the localhost 301. If I open it, right, in a browser, it will take few seconds to build the application first time. And then if you see, the main page launch, right? Now let me bring this here. And if you go to the index.js, right, here this is the default page, it's rendered here. Okay. So if you come down here, we have the welcome to Next.js, right? And this is the text it's populating on the screen. If you change to, for example, let's change to subscribe to Tube Guruji. If you did not subscribe to my channel, please do subscribe. So sorry, so a tag I'm going to remove and save it. You'll see the subscribe to Guruji showing on the screen, right? So this is how the pages is rendering on the screen, right? If you create a new folder or new page, right, and then you can go it to that page by just typing the page name, okay, like this slash whatever the page name you are giving, right? But we will learn that once we start developing this application. And throughout the application, if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Now let's install Tailwind CSS. So just go to Tailwind CSS and Next.js on Google, type it like this. You will see the first link in order to install the Tailwind CSS in Next.js, right? So first step we already done it, right? This just create your project. Then in order to install Tailwind CSS, copy this two line of command and execute in your new terminal. So I will add new terminal here and paste it. Okay, so these two commands will help you to create a two new files called postcss.config.js and then tailwind.config.js. Okay, then in next step, in tailwind.config.js we have to copy this all this line of code, right? So go to tailwind.config.js. If you see, right, two files is get created, and paste the code like this and save it. Then scroll down, and in global.css you have to copy this three line of code. So go to the global.css inside the styles folder. At the top, paste this code, then scroll down. Then you have to run the project, right? So stop the server, okay, and run the project. And in order to make sure, right, I will add this line, right? It added some tailwind css classes, right? So let me go to the index.js. I will remove all of this code because I don't want on the home screen, and paste your code, right? So in this they apply the tailwind css classes here. So it's just saying that text is 3xl. If you hover on it, right, it will give the font size and line height. Same with the font bold and underlines. Okay, so these are the shortcut, you can say, or the class name which is coming from the tailwind css. Okay, and if you want to know how to use or what are the name for the classes, you can anytime go to the documentation. It's quite rich documentation of tailwind css, and you can find anything. For example, if you want a border, you'll find option different option. If you click on border width, and these are the classes they are using, and this is the similar classes which they are using in css, right? So this is how tailwind css is going to work. Also, we gonna install this DaisyUI library. Okay, so this is the one of the most popular component library for tailwind css, and it's already built on the tailwind css. Okay, for example, if you want to show alert, right, these are type of alert, they already define everything. You just need to copy this line of code and paste it in your project, right? So basically we are going to use DaisyUI in order to implement this kind of model, right? So if you go and if you open this model, this kind of thing we are going to implement, which is little difficult to add in tailwind css or time consuming. So that's the reason we want to use DaisyUI. Okay, and it's quite easy to install. If you go to uh, the particular home page, right, you will see this command to add this DaisyUI, right? And you can go to how to use it, right? And these are the installation. So what you have to do, go to your project, add a new terminal, okay, inside that install this DaisyUI, and then you have to just make sure that you will add this particular required field in tailwind.config.js. So go to the tailwind.config.js. Inside the plugins, you have to add the require, okay, and then just write DaisyUI, okay, and save it. Obviously, you are making the change in config file. You have to stop the server and build it again, okay. And once it's done, you are almost set. Okay, so let me refresh the screen, and it's going to build it. And if you see DaisyUI appeared, okay, you don't see any change. But if you want to try some component, right, for example, if you go to the button and if you want to add some button here, right, let me go to JSX, copy this line of code, and index.js I will paste it here. Okay, and save it. And if you go back to application, see, okay, you don't need to add any button, you don't need to add any padding for button, it's already created for you. Okay, so this is how we can use it. We are not going to use this for a basic implementation, but some implementation like model, dialog, menu bar, drop down, that kind of thing we're gonna use DaisyUI. So in order to add the authentication, we're gonna use NextAuth. Okay, and if you don't know how to use the NextAuth, you can watch my previous video as well, and I explain a lot of things regarding next authentication. Okay, so it's quite easy. Let's click on get started, and here you have to install this particular dependency. Okay, so let me go back to our project, and in the terminal paste this line of command. Then if you scroll down, right, here you have to create some file and folder, right? So inside the pages, inside this API, we have to create a new folder called auth, and then we have to create a new file with this name. Okay, so go to the API. Inside this API folder, we will create a new folder called auth, and inside the auth we'll create a new file. Okay, so file name will be should be like this. So let me create a new file, next.js. Okay, and then copy this all line of code and paste it in your next.js file. Okay, so we're gonna replace this one, don't worry. And if you scroll down, right, here next thing you have to add is in under app.jsx, right, inside this pages folder you have to add this session provider. Okay, so copy this, go to the underscore app.js, and after this one, right, oh, sorry, maybe we will, or just copy all of this code, right, that's also fine. You can copy all of this code, paste it here. In this new function we already defined the export default at the bottom, and then import this statement as well. Okay, so I will add import this statement, and this should be my app. Okay, and save everything. Okay, now scroll down, and this is the way that you can use sign out and sign in function. Okay, but right now we just added the session provider. Next thing you have to add is the environment variable. Okay, but we're gonna use the Google API. So if you go to the provider section, right, here let me, in the provider section we are looking for Google, so just search for Google. Okay, and here we have the Google. Okay, and if you scroll down, okay, here you have to add this Google provider, so copy this, and then inside the next auth, right, we already have this default GitHub, remove this one and replace with the Google provider. Okay, make sure to import this Google provider import statement. uh, Let me go back, copy like this and paste it here. Okay, remove this GitHub if you don't want it, and save it. Right now, if you see, right, we have this Google client ID and Google client secret key, right? So if you don't know how to get it, you can watch my all previous video, right? This client ID and client secret key, we have to get it from the Google Cloud Console. Okay, so let me show you. Cloud Console Google, you can just search it like this, you will find the first link. Okay, and once you open this link, if you new on this one, right, create new project and just set up. And once you set up, right, you have to go to the API and service, and here inside the credential you have this, you can create a new API from here, right? Just create credential and click API key, it will create a new API key. And make sure to add set up this auth consent screen as well. Okay, so I already have this authentication key, and everything is set up, right? If you see, the origin is set up, the redirect URL is set up. Okay, that, yeah, make sure you will set up that one. In this particular documentation they also mention how to set up everything. Okay, copy this client key and client secret key. Okay, let me, and paste it in your .env file, right? So create a .env file if you don't have, so create .env, and inside .env file you have to create two variable, one is client ID and one is client secret. Okay, and add the key, save it. Obviously we already accessing this one over here. Okay, and save everything. Now our authentic next authentication is almost ready. Okay, now the thing is, if you go to the underscore app.js, right? Here you can check whether the session is there or not, or in index.js as well, right? You can check whether this user is login or not. Okay, before that, let's create a new page called login. So inside the page, create a new page called login.js. Okay, and add the default template rfc. Now if you are wondering how I'm going to add this default template, right? So in a VS Code we have the extension, okay, called React ES7 plus, right? Install this one, and obviously it will give you the default template by default, right? Also, uh, make sure to add this Tailwind CSS extension as well, which help you to give when you write the Tailwind CSS classes, it will give the suggestion for you. Okay, so these two extensions are very important. Now once you are in the login, you added this login template, right? Now you can easily go by navigating like this login, okay, and enter it, and if you see, you jump to login page. So Next.js is taking care of all routing things. Okay, you don't need to do any configuration for your routing. That's the reason Next.js is quite powerful in consideration of the routing and all. Okay, so now your login page is ready. So what you have to do, add the default login UI right here. So I will add the UI like this. Okay, I copied here. Okay, and if you see, right, I added this sign in method, right? This sign in method is coming from this NextAuth, okay, slash React. Okay, so with the one click or one method, the all the sign in Google sign in authentication is got placed. Okay, so if I save it, and if you see, this login button is enabled here on the login page. But in index.js we have to make sure, right? If you jump on this log 3001 by default, right, we have to check whether the user is login or not, right? So here you can define constant, okay, and you can access the user's login information using this data colon session, using the use session hook, which is coming from the next auth slash react. Okay, and add the use effect. If you don't know about use effect, let me tell you. So use effect is the inbuilt react hook, and it will execute for each instance, right? So if you define like this, it will keep executing, okay, infinite time. So in order to avoid that and only want to execute once these components get load, you have to pass here the empty array. Okay, so this use effect will only execute once. Okay, next, here you have to check if session is available or not. If session is available, then you have to oh sorry, if session is not available, right, what you have to do, you have to define router here. Okay, so constant router is equal to use router. Okay, so this user router is coming from the next slash route. Okay, and here you can define router dot push, okay, in order to navigate to the desired page. So in this case we want to go to the login page if user is not login. Okay, and make sure to add session here. So because session will take time to get the information, and whenever session we have the session information, this use effect will get executed. Okay, and save it. So whenever you want to execute this use effect, you have to pass some variable, and on that variable, if that variable change, you can also execute this use effect. Okay, so if I go to the 3001 and enter it, if you see, it's navigate to login with Google because we don't have the session information. Okay, now let me console the session information here as well. Console.log, I will say user session. Okay, and here I will say user session dot user. Okay, and save it. Now you go to the inspect panel. Okay, and in the console, if you see, right, we have this login with Google. Right now, if I refresh the screen, right, you don't see anything, but even as soon as I click login with Google, you will see sign into Google option. Click on it, you will see the option to sign in with the select the account, and then you will see the we can, oh sorry, so we have to log in 301 actually. Okay, and it's saying the property is undefined because as I told you, right, once you log in on this page, right, it's not necessary that you will jump on this page immediately, right? So we have to check whether session is available or not, or else you can print it here. Okay, so let me print it here actually. Session dot user, save it in this, and if you refresh the screen, and if you see, user session is coming, right? Now, even though if you wonder why the login with Google is showing, right, two things, because initially, immediately, right, when the session is not there, is navigating to login with Google. So in login.js you can also check the same condition. So I will copy the same line of code here, okay, and paste it here like this. Okay, but instead of if session is available, I will just push it to the default page. Okay, don't want else condition, and make sure to import all these hooks import statement and save it. Okay, and as soon as you save it, so okay, we have to import the use effect as well. If I save it, you see it's jumped to the 3001. Okay, wonder, even though you try to go to the login page, it will jump back to 3001 because its user is already login, right? That's the reason. Yeah, now you also not get any error. Okay, so this is how next authentications work. Okay, now if you put the sign out button, obviously on click of sign out, you will get sign out from the application. That we will learn next in the application, right? Once we start developing the application. Now let's implement the side navigation bar. So for that all, I will create a new component. So let's create a new folder for the components, right? So this folder name should be matched with this configurations contents folder name, right? So otherwise the Tailwind CSS class will not applicable to that folder. Okay. So outside in the root directory, I will create components. Inside this component, I will create a side nav bar dot js file. Add the default template. Okay, RFC, and so default template I added from this extension which I already installed. One is the React PS7 plus React, okay, and other is for Tailwind CSS. So this will help you to get suggestion for Tailwind CSS classes. Okay, so if you don't know, you can watch my previous video. I explain how to use that extension and how useful it is. Okay, now save everything. The side navigation bar is showing. Okay, now import this side navigation bar inside the pages folder inside the underscore app.js because we want that throughout the application, right? So I will import it here. I will say side nav bar like this and save it. Now you'll see the side navigation bar is displaying on the screen. Okay. Now inside side navigation bar, we want put the side navigation bar, okay, on the left hand side, and it will be a sticky. So maybe it will be a fix. Once we scroll the screen, we don't want to scroll it, right? So let's add some styling to this one. So first thing, class name, I will give width of 200 pixel. Okay, so nothing will get changed, but let's change the background to white. Okay, like this, if you see, it's coming background white. Okay, and what I will do, I will give the height to the screen height. Okay, so I add a height to the screen height and it will be fixed like this. See, next, right now it's scrollable, right? If you see, it's scrolling. So in order to fix this issue, we'll see sticky, okay, and just say top to 0. Now if I scroll, see, it's fixed, right? And that's what we wanted. Also, I will put z index to be 10, so it will be at the top of everything. Okay, and if you want, you can put some shadow. So I will put a shadow of blue color like this. So shadow blue, I don't know whether it's showing or not shadow, but yeah. And okay, so you have to show the you have to mention the shadow size, how much shadow you want. Okay, so if you see, it's showing the shadow as well now. Okay, 100. Okay, perfect. Now inside that we will add the logo, right? And in the public folder, I already added this all the images and assets. Okay, so that we can use it. So after that, I will add the one div tag like this, and inside that I will add the image. So this image is coming from the next slash image. Okay, and then add the source. So in Next.js public folder, it's directly accessible. Okay, So just access by defining name of this particular file. Okay, so in this case we want logo, so just type logo.png. Okay, in the tag use some alt value, so in this case I will give logo, give some width, so let's give width of 150, do height of maybe 60, and save it. So as soon as I save, you see the cloud guru is showing on the screen. Okay, now let's say give some padding to 5. Okay, oh sorry, you have to use some class name. Instead that we'll give padding to 5. Okay, or this padding you can give to this div only. Okay, so let's give padding to 5. Let me remove this padding. Okay, and then you can mark it as a flex and say justify center, so it will be in the center every time. And that's all, right? So if I increase the screen size, let me close this one, the logo is showing on the screen. Perfect. Next, if you see, right, we have to add button. So one is to add new file, and I add also new button which is add new folder. Okay, so because we can add file as well, we can create a new folder as well. Okay, that, so that two button we want to add. So I will write button add new file, and another button. Okay, let me copy similar to this one, and we can call add new folder. Okay, so after this we have to add the plus sign, right? So if you go to the hero icon, right, this icon we're gonna use, so it's quite easy, right? If you go to the heroicon.com and search for the icon, so in this case for example I want to add, you will see these different types of button, right? You can take anything you want, so I will take this one, right? We have solid, mini, right? So let's take this say copy.jsx. Inside the button where you want to put, you can just paste this line of code. Okay, and you can change the class with this, right? So add this icon as a text only. Now if I save it, it is showing on the screen. Okay, so for this button, let's say class name, let's say flex. Okay, so it will be in one line, say gap of 2. Okay, say item to be in the center. Now we can apply some classes, like for example some, let's add background to be blue and say 500. Okay, use some padding on the x-axis to 2. Try to give some padding directly, okay, like this. Okay, and change the text to the white. See, and make a corner to be rounded to be medium, make it large like this. Medium is fine. Okay, perfect. And if you want to give padding x-axis to 3, you can define like this. Okay, now on hover, right, I will add some animation effect. So on hover I want to scale the size to 105. If you see, the size is changing, right? But for a smooth transition, just add transition all, so you will see it's going out and in. So that's perfect, right? Also for this one I will give margin top to 5, you like down like this, right? Now same thing, you have to copy this same button. Let me format this document and copy the same button and paste it for add new folder, right? So here in this case, instead of add new file, we'll say create new folder, create new folder, and save it. And you can say just new folder because coming to line, new folder. Okay, and I will avoid margin top to 1 only, like this. Okay, so you can change the color of this one. So I want to change the color to sky, see sky 100. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, that's look good. Okay, and they say width to be full. Here also I will say width to be full. So, and try to define justify center, so it will be in the center. Okay, so in this case, if you want to, if you don't, you padding, but we need padding because we want uh, good, right? So that's fine. And that's all, right? If you screen the size, we got the two buttons with this animation as well. That's look perfectly fine. Okay, now button size is little bigger, so what I will do, I will change the text size. So here only you can say text to be 15 pixel, sorry, pixel, right? L, right? So if you see, right, this, if you want to define the custom size, you can define in a square bracket. Okay, it's a padding 1, padding 2, that's fine. And same I will, oh sorry, same I will copy it for this new folder as well and save it. Now our two button is ready. Okay, now we have to add the menu. Okay, so if you see this, right, so we have this one two three, whatever menu you want to add, you can add it, right? So in order to add the list of menu, right, before that I will create a new folder, okay, outside of this root directory. So in root directory we create new folder called data. Inside data I will create new file called menu.js. Okay, so in this menu.js I will add the list of menu. So if you see, I created this list and I will added this id1 name, then I added the logo as well. So this logo is a path for this hero icon. I will explain how to add that. Okay, and this four option I added, and this I exported this list, right, so that we can use throughout the application. Save this one. Now let's go back to side navigation bar. Okay, so here inside navigation bar, you can directly access that particular menu list. Okay, so if you scroll down, let me minimize this one. So after this button, right, let's add one div, and here you can just access this menu list. So I just add menu. If you see, right, this menu, let me check. Okay, dot list. Okay, my bad, not this like this. So obviously if you want to iterate it, you have to add menu dot list and dot, then you have to map it, right? So you just iterate this value. Okay, and inside that you can define the value. So for example, if you say item dot name, right, and save it, you will see home my file state trash is coming. Okay, so here what you can do, okay, inside this div you can define this home file state trash, right? And before that we have to define the logo as well. So let's copy this nextvg file and paste it here. Okay, format this one. Once you paste it, right, here you will see the path, right? So d value, so remove this d value completely and replace with the item dot logo, right? So in the item dot logo, if you see in the menu, right, we have this logo, this path. So that one you have to paste it in, instead of the d value, right? And if I save it, and you will see the change. See, this icon is coming, right? After this, you can add this name of this menu, right? So just say item dot name. Okay, like this. So I will wrap this icon as well inside this h2 tag. Okay, and just say for this class name, say flex. Okay, give some gap of 2, like this. Perfect. Now make sure the item to be in the center. Okay. Now next what we have to do, we will add some styling to this one. Okay, so let me remove this div. I don't think so we need it. Okay, and let me close this one. So here I will add background. We don't need the background, but we will add the padding of 2, like this. Padding x to 3 maybe. Padding x to the margin bottom, I will add a margin top, I will add to 4. So it will be really on 3 is okay. Okay, so if you see, our item is ready. Just let me change the color to little gray. I don't want that much dark, so like 500, like this. Okay, that's look perfectly fine. Now on hover I want to change the background. Okay, so you can say on hover, right? You can change the background to be blue. Okay, like this. So if I hover on it, right, see background is changing. Okay, it's too dark, I think. Let me put white. So this is fine. Okay, and then let me put dark only, and I will, once on hover I will also change the text color to white. Okay, so if you see, right, text color also changing. So let put the rounded to be large, maybe medium is fine. Okay, so see, right, and make cursor pointer. Okay, so this is how it looks, right? So how beautifully we can easily change the color and everything, right? Now if you want to change the color of this one, you can change it, right? And now you can put, once you click on this, right, we have to make it active, right? So let's define one state. So constant, say active index comma set active index is equal to use state. So this is a inbuilt hook from the React. Okay, and which you hold the value and we also set the value, like getter setter mirror. Okay, and now initially we will add the 0. Okay, so initially home will be active one, and here what we can write, we can write one condition, right? So here obviously we have to put the dynamic, we have to add the dynamic tailwind css, right? So wrap this all css inside the curly braces and then add this code, right? Remove this double quote, we don't want it, right? Now inside the code you can just write the condition in a dollar sign in the in curly braces. You can write the condition if active index is equal to index. So let's define index here. Okay, so index is nothing but the 0, 1, 2, 3, right, when we are iterating the value. And when the active is in active index is equal to index, then apply some styling. So in this case I will apply some styling like this particular styling I want to apply. Okay, or it need to be a question mark because it is a ternary operator, right? Otherwise don't show anything, or maybe you can define null and save it. Right, now if I click on home, oh sorry, so right now nothing will be there, right? And the active index, let me check, active index is 0, this is 0, save, where is the screen, right? And it's supposed to be active index on 0, right, because we are already defined 0. And let's do one more thing, right? So on click we will add the on click method, and on click method we will add the active index, right? So what we can do, so okay, so here is thing, right? So why it's not there, because on hover, right, we have to remove this on hover effect because we want to, if you see, the default is there, right? And so here also added the hover text to height on blue and active index is white, right? So I don't know why it's not showing, but that's fine, we will check later on. But along with that we will add on click method, okay, to set the inactive index. Okay, so just set active index and then we will add the index like this, as simple as that. If I click this one, this is active. If I click this one, this is active, right? This is how easily we can change it. So here with this condition with the blue background, I also added this text to be light blue, right? It's look like white only, and if you click, right, you see it's changing, right? Let me show it on big screen, and it's perfectly working fine. Okay, I hope you understand this side navigation bar. Okay, and if you have any question, any doubt, let me know in the comment section. I know this video is getting longer and longer because at the start only, and it's taking so much time, but that's fine because I'm going to teach everything for the basic who is new to this Next.js. Okay, now let's update the layout, right? So what we need to do, on the middle section we want to show our page rendering, because this navigation bar and the storage bar we want to keep constant, right? So In order to do that, right, go to the underscore app.js, right, where we have defined the sidebar side navigation bar and the component, right, which whenever the page is load, this component is getting rendered in this one, right. So first of all, let's wrap everything in one div. Okay, so I will wrap this div, because if you see, right, our index.js is not showing, it's going behind this one, right. And once you define this div, apply class name to flex, and as soon as you make it flex, the home is showing on the right hand side. Okay, now next, let's define one component called storage section. Okay, but okay, let's define that one later on. Okay, but before that, now what we need to do, we need to divide this whole section, whole the right section. Okay, don't consider this navigation bar, but right section into two parts. One is bigger and one is smaller. Okay, so to do that, right, first of all, let's wrap this div. Okay, like this. Okay, and again wrap this div inside the bigger one. Okay, and inside this div we want to show the storage. Okay, so for now I will add the div and just write storage. Okay, like this. So right now it's showing in one line. Okay, now what need to do, let me format this one for better understanding. Now we need to put home and storage in one line. Okay, so we'll go one by one. For this one, let's apply class name, and here we will apply grid. Okay, so now if I apply grid, it automatically divide into two sections, but when the screen size is smaller, we want only one column. Okay, but when the screen size is medium or larger, we want to show two columns. So I will make two column, and if you see, divide into two column, right. So I right now the home storage is still what to say, nearby. The reason is we need to mark this as a width full. Okay, and if you see, it's divided into two equal parts. Okay, and when the screen size is smaller, it still in two equal parts, but it's come one below each other. Okay, but now as I told you, right, we will need to make this home section to be bigger, right. So what you have to do, you have to mark this div as column span, and the size you have to give 2. Okay, and the column size you have to make it 3. So out of the 3 column, the 2 column we are assigning to this component and one for storage. Okay, and if I save it, you will see the difference. Okay, if I want to mark the storage, let me mark this class name, background to be white, let's give padding of 4, save it, you will see the change. See, okay, so this is how it works. Now the storage we will obviously will make it fix. Okay, because it's not gonna change anytime, so that we can make it sticky as well. But for now, we don't need to make any change. Once we start developing this one, right, then we'll uh, update the code accordingly. Now let's add the search bar at the top section. Okay, so we'll make it quite easy. So first of all, go to the components. Here you can add the search bar .js and add the default template by typing rfc. It added the default template, and then add this search bar in index.js. Okay, so you can add it here, or depends, right, you want throughout the application, you can keep it, but for now we will add it here, and then if you need, we can change it. Okay, so I will add it here like this and save it, and if you see, search bar is showing on the screen. Okay, let me put the class name and padding of 5. It will come, it will be like, look like this. Now if you go to the search bar, right, I already have the search bar created, and it's quite easy, right. You don't need to make a lot of coding for that one, just need to add the input. Okay, so let me explain the code, and let me save it up first. Okay, and it will look like this. So for first I added this icon. Okay, and this input field as well. Okay, and that's all, nothing else, right. And I applied the styling and Tailwind CSS classes in order to make it look like this, right. So, and also this is the method, right, on key down, and once you type something, right, and enter it, you will see the console, means the result will display, right, and then you can call the method. So let me show you the example. So let me go to the console. Here if I type sample, right, and if I click enter, you will see the text word sample, right. So I just enter it. So right now we don't have button, you can just type it, click enter, and you will see the result. Okay, so that's the reason I added this on key down. I'm just checking whether the key is enter, and then I'm consoling the result. Okay, now let's implement the folder section. So in order to implement folder section, let's add a new folder inside the component called folder, and inside the folder I will create two new files called folder list.js, and another is folder item.js. Okay, add the default template for both of that file, okay, and save everything. Now in the folder list, right, we will add the dummy data for now in order to display it on the UI, and once the UI is complete, then we will fetch the actual data from the database. So I already have the list of folder that I'm going to use. Okay, so for now I will use like this, right? I will use the folder name and then the id, okay, and nothing else for now. And but later on we can add a lot of things. Now first of all, let's define the give the title for that one. So inside here I will add h2 tag. I will say recent folders, and make sure once you add this folder list component, right, we need to add it in a index.js. So after the search bar I will add the folder list component and save it. Now, if you see the recent folder is showing. Okay, so add the class name here. We'll add the padding 5, then margin top to 5. Okay, I will add the background to be white, and it will look like this, right? Also I will make the corner to be rounded, so I will add the rounded corner to be large. Perfect. Now to this recent folder add some styling, so add class name. I will add the text of 17 pixel and font to be bold. Okay, and make sure we center. The reason is, right, I'm going to use the view all as well button here, right? So inside this tag, sorry, we'll add span of view all. Okay, see, and for that one I will add the class name. So for this one we can make it float right, so it will be at the right side. Then we'll change the color, so let's say text of blue, let's say 400. Okay, and then font I want normal for this one. Let's say text size of 30 pixel, this. Okay, and the item we already made it center, so that's look good. Okay, next we have to iterate the list of folders that we have in this particular folder list array. Okay, so after this h2 tag I will add a div tag. Okay, and after that let's add the folder list dot map, because we want to iterate it, right? Item, and inside here we will define or we can directly pass the information to folder item, and where we will actually code it, right? So what I will do, I will just iterate this folder item like this and save it. So we'll see the folder item that, which is written in this folder item component. Okay, so this is how iterate we can iterate the component as well, right? So you don't need to return the code, and so it help us to manage the code, and this folder item you can use anywhere if you want to use. Okay, now we successfully send this to the folder item. Let's implement the folder item now. Okay, so here inside the folder item we can add the div, then we can add the image here. Okay, so let's add image tag. It says source, right? So I already have the image for the folder, right? So I will just type folder dot png. Okay, and give all to value to be folder, then width to be let's give width of 40, height to be 40, and save it. and it will look like this. Now we want to show the name of the folder, right? So for that one we have to pass the value of the each item, right? Means each folder object, right? So here we can say folder is equal to item. Okay, so we pass it as a folder, and in folder item just accept the value. So here we can say folder, right? And then after this, just to tag, maybe we can add the folder dot name and save it. So let's see. Okay, so save everything because we did not save, and if you see, it's looking good. Okay, now if you see, the text is quite bigger here, but we will change that later on. Okay, so now what you need to do, we want it as a grid, right? So inside this folder list, right, for this div, let add class name. Okay, mention it as a grid first, and then when the screen size is smaller, we want to show the grid. Maybe we can show the two items. Okay, so just write grid, sorry, calls 2. Okay, after that, when the screen size is medium, we can say grid calls grid column 3. Okay, when the screen size is larger, we can say grid column 4, maybe you can show. And then if grid size extra large, you can show grid column 5. Okay, and if I save it, it will look like this. Okay, let's give some margin top to 3 because it's touching, right? So I gave the margin top to 3. Okay, now it's look good, and if I increase the screen, it will look like this. Okay, now give some styling to each of the folder item. So for this item, right, first of all, for this div, I will mention class name width of 5, sorry, width to be full, and then we can make it flex. Okay, and make it flex column, so it will be in one line, and just say justify center, so it will be in the center, right? And then say item to be center. Okay, so it will be center like this. And we need to use some background, we can use some fixed height as well, right? So just say height of 120 pixel. I want this letter to be truncate. Okay, so for example, I can say class name, right? And I want, because if the text this name of the folder is more than 3 lines, we can truncate it, right? So just write line clamp to 2. Okay, so if it's more than that, so it will be one line only, sorry, 2 line only. Okay, then we define the height for this one. Now let's define the border for that. So let's say border of um 1 pixel. Okay, so I will define border of 1 pixel. Okay, and let's define the border color as well, so it look like this. So you want to define the border color, you can define. Okay, then we can make corner to be rounded, so I will do lg. Okay, and we already gave the padding, so let's give padding like this. Okay, so if you see, this is going so you can change the height according to your need. Okay, maybe like this. Okay, perfect. And what else do we need? We can change the background to white actually. So background to be white, it's already white. That's fine. Okay, so give margin to 3, not here, but let's say in folder list we can give margin here, right? So margin to 3 here as well. Okay, let's write here only. So if we need, let me increase the size. So if you see, it's touching to each other, right? So for that one, let's try that one later on. But once I hover on it, right, I want to give some effect. So on hover, okay, we can scale the size to 105. Okay, and on hover again, I want to show the shadow to be medium, and if I see like this. Okay, make the cursor to be pointer, so it look good, right? Perfect. And when we click, right, we can make the index to be active one. Okay, that also we can add it. but for now this is look good to me. Okay, I can change the size of this text because it's little bigger. So what I can do, I can change size of 12 pixel. Okay, and make text to be center. Okay, like this. Okay, and in the folder list you can just define the gap between that one. So I can define gap of 4, so it will gap, you will gap like this, right? Because we define it as a grid, so that's the reason. Sometimes margin, just margin will not work. Okay, and if I increase the size, see, it looks perfectly fine, right? Looking beautiful. Here, I already added the file list and file item, okay, in order to display the list of files. And this is how it looks if I go to here, right? And if you see, okay, so it's quite simple. I also same in the same way that we've added the folder, the same way I added the file, just the styling is little different. Okay, you can access the source code of this one. Very straightforward. I did not add any logic until this point. Okay, that's the reason I just due to the video length, right, I added this code. If you have any problem with implementing this code, you can access the my source code anytime. It's completely free and the link is in the description. Okay, and you can you can check this code and let me know if you have any question. So now we pretty much completed this particular section of showing the folders and the files, right? We will implement storage later. Before that, now let's try to add a new file, right? So for that one, on the click of this add new file button, okay, we want to show the some pop-up. Okay, and same with the create folder as well. When user click on create folder, we want to show pop-up, and user can have ability to add the file name over there, right? So let's add the pop-up for the create folder. Okay, so for that one, let's go to the DaisyUI that we are already installed, right? And inside the components, if you go to this component, right, we have the model section here. Okay, and if you see the example of the model section is quite wonderful. So if you click on this one, right, this kind of model they are providing, and obviously we can replace this all the content, and they have different example. Okay, so if you see, right, we have different examples, so whatever you want you can choose. Okay, now for example I choose this one and I copy this line of code. Okay, now let's go to the components, right, and we are creating the on upload or on create folder, right? So in this particular folder, we'll create a new file called create folder dot folder model dot js. Okay, and inside that I will add this default template. Okay, so here I will replace this with the actual code that we copied. Okay, now it's a simple code, nothing much in this one, right? And if you want to try, right, just go to the underscore app.js where we want to import this particular one. The reason is we are importing here, right, because it will be available throughout the application. Okay, so that's the reason we are planning to import it here. Okay, so what I will do, I will outside of this one, I will create a new div and I will add it here. Okay, so our uh, create folder, right, so its name is create folder model, and save it. Okay, so now if you go to back our application, right, here you will see the open model at the right hand side. If you click on it, you are getting model. Now what we can do from this create folder, right, copy this one and remove it from here and put it inside navigation bar. Okay, and save it, and let me refresh the screen once. Okay, and if you see the button is coming here. Okay, let me save this one so it will be gone, and if I click on this, right, you will see the model is popping, right? Now only thing we need to do, remove this form. Okay, and put that form in create model, create folder model. Okay, like this. Okay, and add this create folder model over here. So let me save this one, and then we will add create folder model here like this. Okay, and if I save it and if I click on open model, it will open. Right, now you will see this on the right hand side, because in index.js, right, we maybe in sorry, in underscore app.js we added here, right? So we can remove from here because we don't want it now, and this model is opening from here. So instead of opening the model on this button click, we will open it on the create folder button click. Okay, so let's go to side navigation bar again, and if you see, right, this particular code, the on click method, right, call this on click method to the create folder. So here is our create folder, and after this I will call this one. Okay, and remove this button. So I will remove this button now. Okay, and save it. Now if I click on create folder, you will see the model is popping up. Okay, now inside this create folder model, we will add some input value, right? I already copied that and already created this particular div. Inside div, we I am showing the image of folder and then the input field along with the button to create. Okay, if I save it and if I click on this create folder, you will see this beautiful UI, right? It's quite simple. Just added this image, okay, and the folder, the input for the entering the folder name and create button. Okay, and now to this input we can add the on click on change method. Sorry, okay, so on change method we can add, and for this on change, if you see, right, if it may console it, and you can console the value. So this is the event e, so e dot target dot value. Okay, and once you enter, you will see the console. Okay, let me show it to you. So let me go to the console, clean everything. If I create click on the create folder, you type some for example folder 1, and you see the folder 1 is coming. Okay, now just save this value in some state. So here we can define one state called constant uh, folder name. Okay, and this need to be in square bracket. Set folder name is equal to use state. Okay, and then with the help of set folder name, you can set the value. So remove this console log and set the value. Right, on this button click, we can submit the value, submit this folder name. Okay, so I will just write on click method, and here we can call on create. Okay, so this method we will create it over here. Okay, so constant on create. Okay, and here I console log the name of the folder. Okay, and if you want to see the changes, okay, so click on create folder. I will give the folder name 1. Okay, and if I click create, you will see the folder name is coming. Okay, and if I 234 and create, see folder name 234 is coming. Okay, so perfect. So now what we can do in the on create method, we can save the information in our database. Okay, and that will reflect it on the UI. So once we create one folder on the home page, it will reflect it here. Okay, if you go to the inside folder, then obviously we will need to show the all the files and folder inside that one. So we will implement next, but before that we need to configure the Firebase in order to connect our application to the Firebase, because we are using Firebase for this application, as Firebase is free to use. And for the beginners, uh, I just want to create all this particular course which contains everything to be free. Okay, so that's the reason we are using Firebase. Now let's go to the firebase.google.com, and here, if you did not sign up for this account, just sign up with the Gmail account and then go to the console. Okay, now here you will see the project. So if you don't have any project, you can create a new project. So let's create a new project by clicking add project. Give the name of the project. So I will give the Tube Guruji, or I will just give the, sorry, YouTube apps. Okay, for my reference, and just say continue. Okay, let's say continue again. You have to select the account. So I will say default Firebase account and create a project. So it will take some few seconds in order to set up the Firebase account and for our project.
A few minutes later.
Now our YouTube app is set up. So say continue. Okay, and then you will launch on this dashboard. Okay, so first time you will see the UI like this. Here you have option to create the application. So in this case, we will create a web application. Okay, and give the name of the application. So for now, we can give Cloud File Manager. Okay, and say register app. and once you register you will see this particular command. Okay, so copy this command and go to your application because we need to install this one. Okay, so let's go to our application. Let me bring this on the right hand side, okay, for our reference, and then paste it in your terminal. So paste it like this. Okay, oops, sorry, I don't know what happened here. Okay, yeah, and then you have to copy all of this particular line of code. Okay, so this contains the Firebase configuration and it initializes the Firebase application, okay, with the help of this particular configuration. So copy it. Okay, go back to our application, and inside this root document, right, root folder, I will create a new folder called config. Here we will put all the configuration. So in this case we put the Firebase. Okay, so creating file, new file in config, so called Firebase config.js, and then paste your code like this. Okay, so if you see, right, your here is your API, right? So just copy this one and put it in .env file. So I have .env file here, right? So we'll put it here. Let's say Firebase API underscore key. Okay, and is equal to paste that particular API. We don't need this particular code here. Okay, and then go to Firebase, and here you have to call that particular API by using process.env dot, you have to have Firebase config, right? Sorry, Firebase API key, like this. Okay, and save it. Now our Firebase config is set up. Now here one thing you have to do. Okay, you have to export this app. Okay, so just write export default and just write app inside that, so that you can use this app throughout the application. Okay, once you export it, now save everything, and let's click continue here. I don't know why button is not showing. Some UI is not perfectly working for this Firebase, but we are done with this one. Okay, just refresh the screen, and if you see our application, nothing got changed. Okay, and now here you will find nothing. Okay, here initially. Now if you go to the all products, right, here you will see the Cloud Firestore. Click on this Cloud Firestore. Okay, and just say create database. Okay, so it will ask some question. So right now we are in the development mode, so you can select the in test mode like this. Okay, and click next. Here you have to select the region. Okay, if you are in India, you have to select Asia South Mumbai, which is near from your location. Okay, so right now I'm in United States, so I will select United States as a default one and say enable. Okay, so once you select this Firebase location, you cannot change later. Okay, so make sure you will choose the nearest location. Okay, and now if you see, the Firestore database is created for us. Now if you go to the rules section, right, here make sure the timestamp is little bigger. Okay, so right now it's saying 16:8. Okay, so I will change to few 25. Okay, so it will be accessible, and say publish. Okay, otherwise no need to change anything. Okay, that's all. Now let's go back to our application. Okay, and here we pretty much completed the configuration of the Firebase. Okay, next we will connect our application to the Firestore, and we will try to insert some dummy data, so that we will make sure that our Firebase is connected to our application. Now what we can do, we need to add the document in our Firestore. Okay, so if you go to this Firebase documentation, right, every time when I create the Firebase related tutorial, I definitely refer to this document, right, and this is very helpful and very easy to learn. So if you go to the Firebase documentation to get the, or to set the document in a Firestore, right, here is the steps we need to follow. First of all, we need to initialize the Cloud Firestore like this, right? So just you can copy paste it or just write it. Constant db is equal to get Firestore. Okay, and you have to write app. Okay, so this app will come from our Firebase config right here. So here if you're getting error regarding Firebase, you have to just export constant app instead of export default, and in where we wrote the app, right? So just make export constant app like this. Okay, and then this app will be defined like this. Okay, so it will be here, and we need to add this get firestore from this import statement. So copy this import statement and paste it here. Okay, now our firestore is initialized in particular component. Now if you scroll down, right, this is the uh, code to add the document in a given collection. Okay, so we'll write that one. So before that we have to make this method async, and then you can write the code. So await, then you have to set the doc, so make sure to import set doc. Okay, then we have doc. Inside that we have to add the data db reference. Then we have to add the name of the collection, so in this case we can add the folders. Okay, then we have to give the document id. Okay, so in this case we can give some random id. Okay, so it need to be a string. Okay, this is very important. And then once this everything is set, you can pass the value which you want to store. So in this case you can give the folder name like you can set the same folder name which we want, right? So I can write folder name like this and then save it. Right, now let's test this uh, particular scenario. Okay, so let's click on create folder. Okay, and then select folder one and this create. Okay, so right now we did not get any error. Okay, everything is good. Let's try whether we got the data. So refresh this firestore, and if you see, this folder is also get created automatically with the new id called random id and the name of the folder. Okay, so this is same which we try to add it. Okay, so this is how we can add the data. Okay, if you have any question regarding this particular scenario, let me know in the comment section. Next, we will add an actual folder name with the correct information and everything. Now, let's add the actual data. So here, we will keep everything as it is. The collection name which will be similar like folders. Okay, instead of this random id, we need to pass a unique id every time. Okay, so for that one, you can just pass date. Okay, you just say date dot now. Okay, so it will return the timestamp, but it need to be a string, so I just converted to two string. Okay, so obviously date dot now and two dot two string will be unique every time. Okay, so that's good. Then we passing the name of the folder, so folder name. Then I will pass the id, so I will pass the same some id here. Okay, like this. Or what you can do, okay, if you pass this information document id, right, so you will find some difference because you are adding document and after that you are setting this information, right? So you can define this at the top somewhere. So you can just write constant. Okay, and doc id I will say like this. Okay, and use this doc id here. And same doc id I will pass it here as well. Then you can pass created time, so just write created by, maybe. Okay, created by, and here you can write the user's email id. So obviously you have to get it from the session, so just write data session. Okay, session is equal to use session. Okay, and then from the session you can get it. So I don't know why this it is coming, but let's see. Okay, so this need to be actually in curly braces. Okay, and then you can pass session dot user dot email, and that's all. So once we see this document, you have the name of the document, the id, and created by. Okay, this id you can use as a created date as well. Okay, when it's get created. Okay, and if you want to pass some more field, you can add it, but for now I think we are good. And let's save it. Okay, and let's test this data. Okay, so before that let me delete this particular document because we don't need it, so just delete it. Okay, and let's go back to our application. So clean everything, say create folder, I will say react folder. Okay, and just say create. So once you create, it's nothing is saying, right? But if you go to the application, if you see this id is created with the same id we added here as a field as well, the name of the folder is coming and the user who created this particular folder. Okay, so this is how we can create, add some few folders so that we can fetch it here and display it on the ui. Now here, once we create that folder, right, we need to know, or we need to tell user the folder is created, right? So for that one, First of all, we'll get the toast message from the DaisyUI, right? If you go to the toast section, right, let's find toast here, and you will find the bunch of different type of toast, right? So here we want the toast on the to be want to show it the toast on the right hand side corner on the top side. Okay, so we'll use this particular toast. So this copy this JSX, okay, and then in the component folder create a new file called toast.js, okay, and add the default template and paste your code over here, right? So right now it's showing two messages, so I will remove this info one, okay, and I will only put this alert success one, so background will be green automatically, okay, and save it. Now obviously we want to show this toast message throughout the application whenever something is happen, right? So we will take some parameter on this one, okay, but for now we'll keep as it is, and later on we can add it. So go to the underscore app.js, and after this div we will add this toast message, okay. So sorry, add this toast component here and save it. Now if you go back to our application, you will see the toast message is showing on the screen, okay. But even though you refresh it, or if even though you did not do anything, right, still it's there, right? So we need to uh, close this one, right? Just search for the toast message whether it's closive or not, right? So we don't have such a thing, so we have to implement our own logic for that one, okay. So what we can do, we can use the context in this case, right? So if you don't know about the context, right, so uh whenever something is changed, right, you want to make some change, what we are doing right now, we are passing some data to the child component, and then again their child component, like that, right? But if you define um, the context, right, so you don't need to pass the value, you can just access it and you can just update the value anywhere, okay. So let me tell you how it works, okay. So first of all, obviously, uh, in the root folder, right, create a new folder called context, okay, and inside the context we'll create a new file called show show post message. So the right, show toast context dot js, okay. So in order to initialize the context, we have to just define export, obviously because we want to access throughout the application, and constant and name of the context. So I will do the same name which I gave to this file, okay, equal to create context. If you see, it is importing from the React, okay, and make sure this comma import statement is added, okay. And for now I will pass the empty value here like this, okay, and save it. And now here, wrap this all the content inside our provider, okay. So show content, show toast context, okay, dot providers, okay, and then you have to wrap it all over like this, okay. So what it will do, whenever, right, you are passing some information, it will access to all these components, okay, to the side navigation bar, to the all the components which is inside this component, okay, and toast as well, and pass the value. So in this case value, so we have to provide some default value here, right? So just provide constant here, then show toast message, they set show toast message is equal to use state, okay. And this message you have to pass it so that you can set your message, and also you can get your value from this toast message, okay, like this. Now in order to display show toast message only when we create the folder, right? So what you have to do, uh, obviously when there is a message in between this particular state, right, then only you want to show message. So you can write this condition, if condition, right, if toast message is there, they only show toast, otherwise show null, okay. And if I save it, you will see toast message is gone, right, because right now in show toast message nothing is there. But if I pass some value, right, and save it, you will see the toast message, okay, perfect. Now one more thing, right, we need to do, we have to pass some message to this toast, right? So we can pass like this, message is equal to show toast message, right? So whatever the message we are storing in this show toast message, it will pass it to this toast, and then we can accept it here like message, and just replace this message successfully hard coded value with this message, okay. So obviously right now if I save it, right? Nothing will display. But if I say hello here, right, and save it, you will see hello toast. Okay, right now here I will keep it empty. Now let's go back to create folder model. Okay, here once we create the model, we want to show the toast message, right? So here obviously we have to get that context in order to set the value for the context, right? So here you can write constant show toast message comma set show toast message is equal to use context. Okay, this use context is importing from the React, and then you have to pass the context name. So this is our show toast context, and then just set the context value. Okay, so in this case we can set value like folder created, like this, and save it. Now let's create the folder. So I will go here and create folder. I will say context folder. You can give any name and create. As soon as I create, you see the folder created toast message is showing on the screen. Okay, but one more thing, right? When the toast message is created, we want to apply the we want to hide it, right, after some seconds or whatever, right? So now let's go back to toast, right? Here we can add the use effect. Okay, and we can execute this use effect when something is changed, right? If for example, if you got the message, right, message is changed, then this use effect will get execute. And then here we can write you can set the interval like this. Okay, and then you can pass the information, right? Obviously here we need to get the context value, so I will copy the same context here and go to the toast, paste it here. Okay, or you can pass this toast message as well. Okay, and in the interval we can set a 3 seconds of interval, right, comma 3000. And after this, after 3000, we can set the toast message as a null, nothing, right? And save it. Now let's okay, so it's saying use context is not imported. Let's try to import it, and this show context tag as well. Okay, I'll bring this down and save it. Now let's create a folder, sample folder. Let's create it. You will see the toast message. Let's say whether it's gone or not after 3 seconds, and see it's gone. Okay, so this is how we can handle the toast message programmatically. Okay, so you have full control of this toast message. We just added the UI from the DaisyUI, but you are putting the whole control. Now you can pass whatever the message you want, and you can display it whenever you want. Okay, now let's fetch all the folders which we created. Okay, so this is the documentation from the Firebase to get the multiple documents from the collection. Okay, so same way, first of all we have to initialize the Firestore. Okay, so for that let's go to the index.js. Okay, because this is our home page and where we are going to fetch the information. Okay, and then we will pass it to our folder list. So here I will define constant and get folder list. Okay, and here is the definition. Okay, again here you have to define the database. So db is equal to get firestore. Okay, and pass the app. So config slash firebase config. Okay, and now our fire get firestore is get initialized. Okay, now in order to fetch the information, right, you have to write the query first. So constant q to query is equal to query is importing from the firebase firestore. Then you have to add the collection reference, add the DB reference, and here you have to provide the name of the collection. So in this case is folders. Okay, just make sure it's folders or folder. So it's a folders. Okay, with S. So sorry, let me bring this at right. Okay, then we have to add the where condition. Okay, because we only want the documents which has the user the particular users, right? So obviously I have to pass the I have to set email comma where email is equal to comma the user session dot email, right? So session dot user dot email. Okay, and
Once this condition matches, then only we want to fetch the document. That's why we set this query. So our query is ready. Now if you go down, get the snapshot. Okay, so you can copy this code as it is, okay, and paste it here. Obviously it's await, so you have to add the async method, and make sure to add the get docs, make sure to import it, and that's all. Okay, make sure to import where condition as well. Obviously we already did it. And this get folder list, we will call it in our else condition, because once we have session, then only we will call this get folder list, like this. Okay, now we are just consoling the document id along with the data. Okay, let's save everything, go back to our applications, and let's see in the console. Okay, so let's refresh it, and I don't know whether we're getting or not. So here we are, we are not getting yet. Let's see why. So here, if you see, right, we are trying to get with the where condition email, but it's we use the field name as a created by. So just write create by and save it. Let's try now. And if you see, we got all the data, right? So this is Angular, this is the UI folder, this is the YouTube, and bunch of folder. Okay, I have created more, so bunch of folder we are getting. Okay, now what you have to do, you have to set the value in some variable. Okay, so it's quite simple. Let's go back, create one state. Okay, so here we'll create one state constant, say folder list comma set folder list is equal to use state. Okay, and initially it's empty. Okay, now let's come down here. Okay, I will remove this console, we don't want it. Okay, I will comment it out, and here you can set the folder list. Okay, but now you have to set, because right now in the this is a for loop, right, and in the for loop we are consoling one by one, but we have to set, we have to push it into array, right? So in the react, in the use state, right, whenever you want to append the value, you have to write like this. For example, folder list and the arrow function, and then bracket you have to write folder list, oh sorry, the dot folder list comma document dot data. Okay, so what it will do, it will take the previous value, and along with the previous value it will add to the new value will add it to this previous value. Okay, so like this. Now you have folder list, right? Pass this folder list to our folder list component. So I will pass folder list is equal to folder list, like this. Okay, now in the folder list, just accept it as a folder list. Okay, and we have this hard coded folder list, right? I will comment it out. So just comment it and save everything. Okay, and now if you see, as soon as you save, let me close this one, you will see the bunch of different folders, right? Let me save it, refresh it again, and you will see bunch of one. The reason is, right, you will see duplicate, because whenever you refresh the screen, okay, with the existing folder it's getting added again and again, right? So in order to avoid that, go to the index.js, and inside this git folder list, right here, make sure to empty it. Okay, so here you have to empty everything, and if you see, only 6 is displaying, even though if I refresh it, you will see, oh, I don't know why it's still showing. Let me check again why it's still showing duplicate. So okay, so here is thing, right? If you go to this next config.js, right, here is this, if you see, we have this one property called react strict mode, right? Make it false, because what happen, use effect will execute a couple of times, multiple times. Make it false, stop the server, we stop the server and rerun again, because we made the changes in the configuration file. Okay, so let's wait to build the file, also build the application. And if you see, right, let me open it in big screen, and if you see, it's refresh, right? And now let's try to refresh it again. See, it's not getting duplicate now. Okay, so this configuration is very important. I don't know whether on YouTube or on internet anyone specified this particular thing, but this is very important, right? Because it avoid duplicate or executing multiple times this use effect, right? So that's the reason. But also make sure to add this select folder list as empty whenever get folder list is called. So until this point, if anyone has any question, let me know in the comment section, or you can DM me on my Instagram channel. So now, once the user click on this particular folder, we want to navigate into that particular folder. Okay, and this is where the navigation part comes. Okay, so this is what we are going to implement. So once user on this home page, right, and go to this folder slash some ID. Okay, we want to navigate to the folders information. Okay, you will get to know once we start implementing it. Okay, so let's go back to our application. So we at very first we will create a new page. Okay, so inside the pages folder I will create a new folder here called folder. Okay, and inside this folder I will create a dynamic file. Okay, so I will say folder id dot js. Okay, and add the default template, and let me explain how it works. Right, I will change this one to folder details. You can give any name which you want. Okay, like this. Okay, and save it. Now what this square bracket and the name means, you can put any value here. Okay, so let me show you how it works. So for example, you are navigating to the folder which is, okay, let me, okay, so which is in this particular folder slash whatever the id you can pass 75, enter it. Okay, you can pass any string, enter it, right? And if you see, it jump into the folder details page. Okay, so that's how it works. If you pass the index.js, obviously, okay, let's let me explain that one as well. By index.js, right, and if I pass nothing, then it will go to the index.js. Okay, so we did not define it. Define default template. I will say sample, sample, save it. Okay, now if you see, it jumped to sample because we did not pass any information, right? But if you pass some value, it will navigate to this file and not this file. Okay, so this is very important concept. Right now I will delete this folder, I don't want it. Okay, now I hope you understand until this point. Okay, and let me clean this one as well. So now we have the folder detail page. Okay, now go back to our folder. Inside the folder we have this folder list, right? From here we want to navigate once user click on this folder item, right? So we already have this set active folder we are calling, right? So what I will do, I will create a new function constant on folder click. Here I will bring this inside this method. Okay, and let's call this method now. Call this method on folder click. That's all. I don't want this one. Okay, and now inside this folder we want to navigate, right? So for navigation you have to define router is equal to use router. So if you see, use router is a inbuilt hook from the next router. Okay, and it's quite simple. What you have to do, just specify router dot, you have to push the particular navigation, right? So write push and just define the path. So in this case it's folder slash, and you have to pass the id of this particular folder. Okay, so in order to pass the id, we have to make sure you are passing from here. Okay, so what I will do, I will pass all of these things. So item means that particular object only. Okay, and here on folder click I will get this object here like this item. Oh, so sorry, we need a item id only. Okay, so we'll get the folder id. So let's say folder id. Okay, and pass the folder id here like this. Okay, so it need to be item dot id. Okay, so from this item we are passing the id, we are accepting here as a folder id, and pass this folder id plus folder id. Okay, that's it. Now if I save it, and if you click any of this folder, okay, right now what is saying, index is not defined. Let's see, obviously we have to pass index as well because we move this set active folder at the top, right? So pass the index as well and save it. Now if I click on this any folder, if you see, is navigate to the particular folders page. Inside we have this particular page, right? And this is the id. for the particular folder. And if you see, it jump to the folder details page, which is we created here, right? Now you can accept this id, okay, because we need this id in order to fetch the information, right? So what you can do, what how you have defined, you can just get the folder id is equal to router. Okay, so it need to be smaller one, so router dot query, okay, but obviously you have to define the router first. So define the constant router is equal to use router, and then use this router, and from that you can get query. Okay, so obviously this is we destructurize it, so we have the folder id. So this is nothing but this folder id. Okay, now we have folder id. Let's print this folder id here and save it. Okay, let's print here like this and save it. So it's saying router dot query. Query is not function, obviously only define function like this. If you see, the folder id is displaying here. If I go back and select the another one, you see different id is coming, right? If I press tt something like this, that particular text is showing. Okay, so I hope you understand this particular scenario, okay, how to implement this one. Now let's send some data to this on this particular page when the folder is selected, right? So we want to send the name of the folder and the id. Okay, so let's go back to folder list, and here instead of passing just a folder id, we'll pass the complete object of the particular folder. Okay, so I will remove this id here and make sure to pass id item dot id here like this. Okay, after that we have to pass the object, right? So wrap this in a curly braces, and here you have to define, let's bring this down, and the path name. Okay, so this is our path name which we define, and after that we have to define the query. So let's write query, and then you have to pass the object which you want to send. So in this case we will send the name of the folder, which is item dot name, and then id we already getting, but still we can send id as a item dot id. Okay, on this two item we are getting it here. Save this one and go to the folder id. Here instead of just getting folder id, you can get name and id from the query. Okay, and save it. All is I want to print name and save. Let's go back here. Now if I click on this particular any of this particular folder, you will see the folder name is showing it here, right? And if you see the url, where in the url you passing the name and the id of the particular folder, right? You can pass you if you can ignore this id, you can, okay, because we're already getting it, but for your understanding I'm passing the id for now. So now once we are in the particular folder, right, we want to create another folder inside this folder. Okay, for that one, once we create on create folder along with the name of the folder and some id, we have to pass the parent id of this particular folder, right, which is the id we are getting from this one, right? This id or maybe this one, it's similar, right? This id we have to set to the subfolder which we are creating inside the folder. So in order to do that, right, there are two way we can do it. One, we have to send that particular id back to this create folder, which is the quite lengthy or difficult process. Okay, the another way we can do it by using the context. Whenever we are on this particular page, we will set the context value, and once we are creating folder, we will get that context id, and then we will set it while creating this particular folder. Okay, so let's do it. So let's go to the context folder. Inside this context folder we create a new file. Okay, so we can call um, we can call it as a parent folder id context dot js. Okay, I will just copy this one, and here you can define constant. The parent folder context is equal to create context. Okay, and when default value is null, make sure to export it and save it. Obviously in underscore app.js we will wrap this all of these things inside that particular folder id, right? So here we can define like this, uh, parent folder id context dot provider. Okay, and add this provider, wrap this after this one. Okay, like this, and then pass the default value. So obviously we have to define one state to hold that value. So here we can set parent folder id, and here set parent folder id. Okay, initially nothing, and that's all. Okay, so here we can just pass that id, set parent folder id. Okay, like this, and save it. Now obviously when user is on the let me go back. Okay, so here when the user on this particular page, right, we have to set the parent id, right? So what you have to do, let's go back to index.js. Okay, and here in the use effect, right, anywhere you can do it, you have to set the value here. Okay, because whenever you create a folder anytime on the home page, on the or on the inside the folder, we are going to pass the reference id. Okay, and the initial the reference id on the home page will be, we can pass it as 0 or some empty value. Okay, so obviously let's get the context reference here. Okay, so we just copy this here. Okay, and in index.js paste it here. Obviously the square bracket, because we are going to use context, and here use context and pass the parent folder context. Okay, and here you can just say set um, parent folder id. We can set it as a 0. Okay, perfect. Now again let's go back to our create folder. Okay, so here we have create folder component, and here as well we have to use that context. So I will copy the existing one. Okay, this one, and then in the create folder context I will paste it here. Okay. Make sure to import use context and parent folder context. Okay. And now use this parent folder id to write as a parent folder id, and pass that parent folder id here like this. Okay, whenever we create a new folder. Okay, and also when you are going into this particular folder, on this folder id component we have to set the parent folder id value. So go to the this particular folder id.js, and here you have to set the value. So just set the value like this. Okay, use context, make sure to import the statements. Okay, and then we'll add the use effect here. Okay, and in this use effect, right, we can add the set parent folder id. Okay, and then we will pass this id here. So whatever the id is we are getting from the query, we'll pass it here. Okay, and obviously whenever the id is there, the user will execute, and we are setting this set parent folder id. Okay, perfect, like this. And now save it. Now let's try this one. Okay, so let's we are at the home screen. Okay, so nothing will be there. Let's go to the create folder, and this is the 2290 is the parent id. So create a folder, say React subfolder, and just click create. Okay, so it's saying folder created. See, on this particular page as well, this toast is messaging it displaying. Right, now let's go back to our this particular Firestore, and let's check the parent folder id. Right, it's coming from 2290, and the name of the folder, the React subfolder, and the id and everything. Right, this is how we can store it. Now the question is how to fetch the information inside this particular React folder id. Right, for that one we are gonna use this same reference id to fetch the information with the where condition. Okay, so let me show you how. So if you remember, like in folder list, not in folder list but in index.js, right, if you come to index.js, here we already fetched this particular get folder list data. Right, copy the same code, and then go back to our folder id, this component, and paste this over here. Okay, make sure to initialize this constant db is equal to get firestore and app. Okay, and make sure to import all of these documents. So in this case collection, query, the where conditions, get docs, and everything. Okay, and I also set this folder list. Okay, so let's add this constant folder list comma set folder list is equal to use state. Sorry, use state. Okay. Obviously we have to add the section here, right, in this particular component. So constant data colon section is equal to use session. Okay, so it will be session. Now we have session, we have user and everything, right? Make sure whenever we have to execute this, whenever the session is available, right? So obviously if session is available, then only execute this get folder list. Okay? So that it will come here and this particular function will get executed. But here we have to pass the different query, right? Here we obviously we have to pass created by, but along with this we have to pass another where condition. So right here, and here we have passed the parent reference id comma is equal to and the id which we are getting from here. So in this case the id is this one. Okay, we can name it as a folder id, but right now we'll keep as it is and I pass this id here. Okay, but to make sure, right, let's add the, okay, we'll pass keep it here like that. Okay, and that's all. Okay, so in this one what we'll get the created by and along with the parent reference id, and that where condition, from this particular where condition we'll get the set folder list. For now we'll just comment it out and try to console the information. Okay, so let's comment out and try to console it and save it. Right, now let me go back. Okay, if I go, let me open this inspect panel as well, clean everything. If I go to the React folder, right, right now nothing is displaying. Let me check. So we are in the get folder, we are here. Okay, console.log in folder list, save it in folder list coming, but this particular line is not executing. We'll see. So here we did a small mistake. So instead of this so before we added this parent reference id, instead of that we have to add parent folder id. That's what we said in our firebase firestore field. Okay, see the parent folder id, that's what we have to pass it. Okay, now let's save it. Let's go back to our application, let's clean everything and let's go back, clean everything. If I go to the React folder, see this folder is id is coming. Okay, perfect. I hope you understand this one. Now interesting part it again, right, as I told you, the creating of the use of the creating a different component. Okay, so now we have to display the folder list, correct? So what you have to do, a simple add the folder list component. Okay, and inside this folder list component pass the folder list like this. Okay, and oh, sorry, so here will be a folder list and save it. As soon as save it, we will get the list of folder. Let's see. Okay, so obviously we are not getting because we are not setting the folder list. We commented out the code on this one, and if you see, the React subfolder is showing on the screen. Okay, but the thing is, obviously I don't want to show this kind of structure because it's quite, it will be similar like this one, right? We don't know, user will confuse whether we are in the home page or we are on the previous page, right? So I'm gonna change. So this is task for you. Try to design UI so it will be different from the existing one. Okay, so that is task for you. Obviously I will create my own and you can access my source code as well. It's completely free and the link of the source code is in the description. Okay, and guys, please hit like button. If you did not subscribe to my channel, please subscribe as well, and please share this video with your friends and family. Okay, and next, one more thing we'll do here, right? Whenever we create a folder, the particular things sorry, particular UI is not getting refreshed, right? Let me create a new folder called folder 2 and create it. It's not refreshed, right? But this particular folder created get executed, right? See, the one thing we can do, if you know, right, we are setting the folder list. There are two ways we can do it actually. Once we can refresh the screen, or we can call this use effect once the folder is get created. Okay, the way we can do it, we can use the existing context, which is the toast context, right? If you have this short toast context, we can use this particular context. Okay, so let's copy the same context from here. I think, right, in the underscore app.js we have show toast message, right? So whenever the toast message change, then we will refresh this particular screen. Okay, so let's go back to show toast context and we copy this one, right? So let's go back to our folder id. Right here we'll paste it this one and just change this to a circular bracket, and here we use context, and here we will use the show toast context. Okay, so this is the trick that we can use with the existing context and avoiding creating a duplicate multiple context, right? Now we have this context. Now what we can do, whenever this context change, we're gonna call this use effect, right? There are two way we can call it, but now we can just add it here. Okay, short toast message, and along with the session we'll check if short toast message is available. Okay, or no need to do it actually, just add the session and then we get executed. Okay, so let's try it. So whenever I create a folder, I will say folder 3, create it, and see folder 3 is display on the screen. Okay, as soon as it's there. So now we pretty much completed this implementation. I also made some more changes in the UI. If you see, right, if I go to the React folder, and then you will see this particular UI, right? So instead of showing the a full screen of the React folder, I'm showing in the list form. Okay, instead of grid form. Now what we have to do, let's go to the home page, right? And once we are here, right, and if you are in any folder, that's fine, or you are on the home page. Okay, when you just click on add new file, we're gonna show this beautiful click to upload or drag and drop UI. Okay, so that user can just drag and drop, or they can click and they can select the file. Okay, so that particular functionality we are going to provide now. Okay, so I already added the UI for that one. So if you see in the file folder, I created this upload file model. Okay, and in this component I added this particular UI. Okay, it's similar to the create folder, only thing, the once we click on this, right, this particular design I added, and this design you can get it from the DaisyUI. Okay, or you can get it from anywhere, because this is simple css tailwind css UI. Okay, and on that one obviously we added this input. So on the input we are going to add this on file upload method, right? And this on file upload method will give us the files information. Okay, so for example, let me console the log here. Okay, so instead of this one, is console.log. Okay, and this will we are executing this method on change method, not on click method, because once the file is select, this on change will get executed. Okay, let's save it and let's test it whether we are getting the file information or not, right? So let's go to the inspect panel, go to the console, clean everything, and if I click add new file, click upload, and let's upload some image. Okay, so let's upload this image. So as soon as I upload this image, if you see, right, we got this modified by, modified date, the name of the file which we need it, right, the size of file we need it, and the type of the file. Okay, so that these three things we need for in order to store the data in a file storage. Okay, also obviously we are going to store the image as well. Okay, but let's in the method, let's bring this everything together so that we can add it in our database. So here let's call this on file upload, create a new method here. Okay, close this one. Here constant on file upload. Okay, and here we will write the on file upload method information, right? So obviously we will pass, this will be async, and we'll pass the file here. Okay, so this file contain all this information. Okay, we can console it for our reference. Just write console.log, and we can write a file comma file here like this. Okay, now obviously we will first of all we will save the data in database, and then depends on the once we save the data, then we will store the data in fire storage. Okay, so first of all, obviously we have to define constant db is equal to uh, get firestore. We have to provide app, make sure to import this app. Okay, and obviously we many times we add the document, right? In the same way we will add the document, so let await set doc. Okay, and again inside doc we have another we have to provide doc, then db. Okay, and then we will store the all the files in a files collection, so I give the collection name as a files. Okay, then after that we have to provide the, once we define this one, the document id, right? So in this case document id, you can generate any document id. Okay, so what I will do, uh, I will generate constant here. Okay, I mean I will say doc id is equal to date dot now, the similar way we generated it, right? So it will give a timestamp and that will be a unique, so this doc id will add it here. Okay, and obviously this need to be a two string doc id dot two string, like this. Okay, and after that we will add the our fields which we want to save. So first of all, name of the file, so it will be a file dot name. Then the type, right? So whether it's a jpg type or image type or png, right? So like this, so for that one we can say file dot name. Okay, and then we will split it. Okay, because if you see, let me, if you see, right, from here we'll get uh, the extension, right? The file extension, that is what we need it, right? So I will add the split, and then we will split on the dot, and then from that we will get the first element, because zeroth element will be the name of the file and first element will be the extension. Okay, that's the reason. Then we'll get the size from the file dot size. Then we'll store modified at, okay, or modified by, we can write. Okay, but in this case we can get the modified by, which is last modified. Okay, so this the spelling is incorrect. Let me copy it from here, like this. Okay, so this is again timestamp. Okay, like this. Then we can store one more, that created by. Okay, so it will be a session. Okay, so we need to put save the get the session here, so whoever to upload this image, that name will be there, right? So constant data session, okay, is equal to, sorry, is equal to use session, like this. And here we'll get the session dot user dot email. Okay, like this. So we store this one as well. Then what else we need? Okay, so we need the folder id, parent folder id, right? So obviously we will set parent folder id, okay, where it's stored. So in this case obviously we have to take it from the context, because we are storing in the context, right? So that's constant, sorry, constant. Let me bring what is the name of the parent folder. So this one. Okay, so I will copy. So this parent folder id. Okay, so from parent folder id we get to know, okay, this is the particular folder id which we are going to upload, okay, for that particular folder. Okay, obviously if it's zero we are showing on the home page, if it's not then we will show in the folder. Okay, and then what else we need? I think that's all, right? And obviously we can right now we can put the random url of the image. So I will put image url, and it will be from the local, so I will put it from the local only. So it will be like let's say folder.png. Okay, or let's say that's fine, you can put anything, right, like this. And that's all. Okay, if you have any more you want to put, we can put it, but right now I think that's enough. Okay, and then you can just close the model. Okay, so we have the option to close the model, but we'll see. Okay, and save it. And right now it's saying use context, because we have to import all these statements. So let me make sure to import this one. Okay, and save it. Okay, so let's test it. I don't know whether it will work or not. Say add new file, click upload. Okay, so upload any image. So I will upload this one. So it said doc is not defined right at the background, so obviously we have to add this all the things. Let's say doc. I think yeah, that's enough. Okay, and now let's again try to upload. Okay, so we uploaded, it's not closing, we will close later on, but let's see in database whether we got it or not. So if you see right, the files collections get created, and inside that new document get added, and all this information is there, right, along with the parent folder id. Okay, now let's try to save this in different folder, right? So let me close this one. If I go to the React folder right here, nothing is here, right? Now let's try to put it. So obviously this folder id is need to be stored as a parent folder id. Okay, so let's add new file, open any folder. So let's try to upload this particular image. Okay, nothing is happening, that's fine. We will call this toast message as well. Okay, and if you see, this is saved and this parent folder id is also saved. Perfect, that's what we wanted. Okay, so now we'll update some things, right? I mean, for example, we need to show toast message, we need to this particular errors, also we need to upload this, we need to close the dialog and all of these things, right? Try at your own and let me know if you have any question, any problem while implementing this one. Okay, and obviously anytime you can access my source code, it's completely free. Okay, now here I did couple of updates, right? So if you go here, right, let me bring our code here. In a file upload model, right, once we upload the particular data, right, when we save it, I am just calling this close model as a true and passing back to the upload file model, right? So it will, obviously it will, we can bring it inside navigation bar like this, right? And here you can just call this window.upload file.close, right? Because here we call it as a show model, and instead of show we can call close model, so it will close the model. Okay, and another thing, let me save this one. And another thing, in the upload file model, I'm just setting the toast message, right? So if you see, we have using the context which we already defined, right? And just I'm passing this message. Okay, let me show you the demo now. If you go to the any folder, let me go to the Angular folder. He will click on, oh sorry, let me bring it, and here we will upload the file, right? Click on the file, go down, select the file which you want to upload, and you see file uploaded successfully. Right now you are not able to see the file because we did not write any information to fetch the files. Okay, so next we will fetch all the files which we need. Also we need to store the actual file in the storage, right? So for that one, in Firebase we have one service. Okay, so if you go to this all products, right, here we have the storage, right, and we will look into that how to use it, and then we will store actual file into that one. Now let's upload the file. Okay, so for that one you have to enable the storage option or storage service in a Firebase Firestore. So if you go to this Firebase, right, here we have the option called storage, click on it, and then just click get started. Okay, so right now we want to in test mode, just select as a start in test mode and select click next, right? Here we already select the region for the storage, sorry, the Firebase file store. Obviously it will applicable to the storage as well. Okay, and say done, and it will take some time or some few seconds for creating the default bucket. Okay, so each folder in the storage, it's known as a bucket. Okay, but for simplicity you can call it as a folder as well. Okay, so it act as a folder only, but in a Firebase term it called a bucket. So now if you see, our storage is initialized. Okay, if you go to the rule, here you can set the rule right now. Okay, so you can change the date. For now I will change it to 2026. Okay, and say publish. Okay, and files, if you go to the files, right, here is the our basic default storage, right? Here you can create the folder as well if you are uploading manually. Okay, but in our application, when user add new file and user put some file on this one, right, we want to store that file in a storage, and then we want to get a download URL so that we can store in a Firestore along with the all other information regarding the file. Okay, so let's get started. So obviously this is the documentation in order to upload the file to the storage. Okay, I will explain each line by line. Okay, so first of all, let's define or initialize the Firebase Firestore. Okay, so this is the way you can initialize. Okay, so obviously you have to define constant, then define storage is equal to get storage. So get storage, and then you have to provide pass the app. Okay, so make sure to add this storage import statement like this. Okay, copy it and paste it here. Okay, now your storage is initialized. Now then you have to add this reference, right? So this reference is nothing but the file name. Okay, so let's add it here. Okay, and for now I will just comment out this code. Okay, so this is the reference of the image which you are going to store. This is the storage reference, and this images is the folder name where you want to store this particular file. Okay, so this is the file name which we are going to provide. So right now I will want to store in a folder called file. If it's not there, it will create for you automatically. Then here we will replace this name of the file with the actual file name. So just write file dot name. Okay, so which we have already, we are accepting here, right? And then if you come down, right now we have the file format type of file, which, or you can upload blob as well, and this is the particular code in order to upload the file of the type file. Okay, so now here I will change this to file reference like this, and just we already defined these particular things, right? Okay, you don't need to define it again, and then copy this line of code. So what it will do, it will actually upload your file byte by byte to the storage. Okay, so here storage reference, which we already, so our storage reference is nothing but the file reference. So replace this with the file reference. This is the file which you want to store, and the snapshot and upload blob file, it will return this particular statement once it uploaded to the storage. Okay, just try it. I saved this particular line of code, and let's try this one now. Okay, so let's refresh the screen once. Click add new file. Here I will click on this one. Okay, let me open the console as well. So let me open the console, clean everything, and now add new file, upload a file, select any file which you want to upload. Okay, so I will select this one. So right now it says upload bali is not defined. Obviously you have to import the statement for that one. So let's say import it from the storage, and reference is also imported already. I think that's good. Now let's refresh the screen again. Click add new file, upload the file, and select the any file which you want to upload. I will this one, and if you see, within a few milliseconds it's saying the uploaded a blob file. Okay, let's test it, or check our storage, refresh the storage. So, and if you see, this file folder is created. Inside the file folder we have this particular file which we uploaded. Okay, if you click on this link, it will open this particular link. Okay, so we successfully uploaded the file. Now once we store this file on Firestore, right, we need to get this URL so that we can store that URL in our Firebase Firestore. Okay, so in order to implement this, right, if you come to this documentation at the bottom, right, here is the code in order to get the download URL. Okay, once it uploaded, so what you have to do, let's go back to our application, and then just copy this line of code. Okay, and obviously this is a promise, so you have to click then. Okay, and one promise made, you have to add this line of code. Instead of upload task reference, right, we already defined this file reference, so replace this with the file reference, and then we'll get the download URL. Make sure to import this get download URL here and save it. Let's take this particular scenario now. So if I click on add new file, click on this particular file, let's upload new file. Okay, if I upload this particular file, right, and if you see, file uploaded successfully, we got a blob file uploaded, and then also we got this file available at. So this is the URL is getting returned, right? If I click on this, you see it's open on this new window, right? And if you go back to our application, let's refresh this particular storage. you will find this file as well. So I don't know. Okay, so this is the file which we uploaded just now. Okay, and also we got the URL. Now everything is ready for us, right? So what you have to do, uh, you have to add everything. Once we get the download URL, right, you have to set this document. Okay, so what you can do, you copy this particular line of code and paste it here, and just uncomment it. Okay, and obviously it's await, so you have to make this async. And we have download URL, so copy this download URL and replace it with this image URL. Okay, make sure to format this one, and then we have everything ready. Obviously once it's done, it will close the model, as well as set it will set the stored message as a some message, right? So I will put it here like this. Okay, so once we download URL, it will set the document, and then it will close the model, and it will show okay, file uploaded successfully. Okay, let's test all of this code together. So now let me go back. Okay, let me clean everything. Let's add new file. Click upload file. Now upload some new file. I will upload this particular image. Okay, and if you see, file uploaded successfully. Okay, let's go to the storage and in the files, and let's check whether we have that file. And if you see, we got the image URL from the Firebase storage. We have modified that, the name of the folder, the parent folder it is in, and everything. Okay, perfect. So with couple of things we already covered in this one, right? So we already uploaded the file, we are storing the information, and the file is also stored in the storage of the Firebase. Okay, so guys, if you have any question regarding any of this one, right, I know it's getting a little faster because of the time issue. Okay, but if you have any question, let me know in the comment section, or you can DM me on my Instagram channel, and you can join my Telegram channel as well. Okay, and if you are very interested, you can join my Discord channel as well. Just now I opened newly. Okay, next we are gonna fetch all these files in respective folder. If I open this React folder, obviously all the files regarding related or which we uploaded in this particular folder will open it here. If you are uploading here, obviously it will open in this recent file. Okay, and vice versa. So let's work on that one now. Now instead of these files, right, which we are showing here, we're gonna show actual data. Okay, this is a dummy data. So let's go back to our application. Oh sorry, the code. Okay, and over here in the index.js, because this is the home page, right, in index.js we gonna fetch the file list, right? So it's similar to the folder list. So what I will do, I will copy this particular code. Okay, and I will paste it here, and I will replace the name to get file method name to get file list. Okay, and then obviously collection gonna change to file. Okay, so it need to be files. I think let's check once. So it's files. Okay, and obviously everything will be similar. Obviously we want only the files which has a parent folder ID 0, which is uploaded from the home screen, and the created by, obviously it's a user's email ID, and everything will be similar. Only thing that we have to store in different state. So I will define new state. Okay, and we can call file list, and here as well set file list. Okay, and just use this one here, set file list, and here as well set file list. Okay, so I will change this, I will rename this file list. Okay, and everything will be similar. Now what you have to do, uh, you have to call this get file list along with the get folder list. Okay, and then uh, you can send this file list to this one. Okay, so just for like file list is equal to file list, and accept as in a file list. So here you can accept it as a file list. Okay, and comment out this hard coded value. Okay, and I think everything will be similar. If there is some issue, we can check it out. Okay, I refresh everything. Let's go back to our application. So right now if you see, right, we are not getting any data. So let's check whether we are getting any error. Inspect panel, go to the console. So these are the key issue. That's fine, we can um,
check it on anytime. Okay, so let's check whether what we are missing here in index.js, right? So we have get file list, then it's calling this function parent folder id. Okay, so here is thing, right? So if you go back to this one, right, it's modified at, okay, and it's created by, okay, the name of the field name is created by, and its parent folder id is correct. So, and right now if you see we have this create by, so replace with the created by, and now save it, now test it. Okay, now we are not getting any uh, result. So make sure the field name is correct. So first is files, okay, the collection name is files, then we have the parent folder id which is equal to 0. Okay, so maybe it's a number, maybe that's why, and this created by, and save it again. Last time we can check it out, and if you see we got the data. Okay, so we got the data, we have this size. Oh, size is little bit different. The modified date is quite only the number because it's a timestamp, right? And all we uploaded is the jpg or png file, correct? So that's the reason it's not showing correctly. So what we can do now, we will update this modified date and the size to actual readable date and the size. Okay, now in order to convert this timestamp to the actual date, right, we are going to use this very popular library called moment .js. Okay, so it's quite easy to use. Okay, first of all let's install this moment.js in our application. So let's go back to our application, open a new terminal, and paste it this one. Okay, and if you scroll down, right, here is the format that you can use. So if you want to use the format, you can pass the timestamp, a lot of things. Okay, so for our application, right, this is our application. Let's go to our file item. So let's go to file item.js, and here I already added this line of code, right? So here what we can do, just copy this, okay, because and replace with this one. So what is doing, we are passing the timestamp modified add to this moment, and we are formatting with this particular date, right? So it's giving the mmm, means like short form of the month, then the day and the year. Okay, so like this. And the for size I am using this mb format. Okay, maybe it's kb or mb, I'm not exact sure, you can just verify it. Okay, and this converting this with this formula. Okay, so whatever the size we are getting is I think a byte, in a byte we are getting, right? And then we are converting into mb and save everything. Now if you see, right, I saying format issue, so because we don't have moment installed, okay, imported, so make sure to import it. And if I save it, if you scroll down, now we got the actual data. If I may increase the size, now if you see we have this modified date, we have size, okay, everything to be formatted. Okay, perfect. I hope you understand this one. Next, if you go to the any recent folder, right now it's not showing here, right, because we want to implement here as well. So obviously copy this similar code, get file list. Okay, I will copy here this until this point, and then go to the folder id.js. Okay, so over here paste this particular method. So we have this get file list, make sure to call this get file list inside this one, and also add new state called file list. Okay, so similar code which we use in index.js, we just copied it here. Okay, because similar code we're going to use. Now obviously if you are doing duplicate code, you can put it in one file, and then you can use it instead of writing this code a couple of times, right? But for our understanding, as this is a beginner friendly course, I don't want to make people confused. Okay, so we define the state as well for the file, and it look everything good, right? We have the session and everything's ready. Now obviously you have to set this file list, okay, and pass it to the file list component. So we have to add the file list component here. Okay, so just add the file list component, and oh, sorry, so it need to be component. Okay, file list, and inside this we will pass the file list. Okay, file list, make sure it's imported as a file list.
So I don't know whether it's imported or not. Let's try to import it again. Now it's imported. Now if I save it, and right now we don't have any file uploaded here. Okay, if you see, we don't have any. Let's try to upload it and let's say whether we are getting correct value or not. Okay, so I will upload this particular file and it's uploaded, but it's still not showing. Okay, the reason is we are passing the parent folder id as a 0. Okay, so change this one to the actual folder id. Okay, so we have to pass the actual folder id. Okay, so this is the parent folder id, we have to use it. Okay, this one. Oh, so it's mentioned as id only, so we will use id only here like this. And let's try it. I don't know why we are not getting. Let's see, everything is correct. Let's see whether we are getting any error. I don't see any error here, except this key. We'll check it out. So here is a silly mistake we made. Obviously, if you see right in use effect, we have to call that function. We just return the name. So make sure not to make me silly mistake, because sometimes you will not get any error, but still you will stuck in that particular issue, right? And if you see now, wow, we got this list of files in this particular folder, right? Now this file you will not find in this particular file, right? Even though if you go to subfolder, you will not find it here. Now let's upload in subfolder, right? Right now it's empty. So click add new file, click upload the file. Here I'll upload this particular file, right? And if you see, the file is uploaded here now. Perfect, right? If I click on it, it's nothing is happening right now, right? Or anywhere nothing is happening, right? Now if you go to the subfolder, still it's nothing happening. So what you have to do is simple. We'll keep the simple, right? Let's go to the file item. Okay, and over here, uh, on the div, right? So whenever we click on this particular uh, name or name only. Okay, let's upload that in particular name. So on click on the name, right, we will call one function and it just open the window dot open the url in new tab. Okay, we'll keep as simple as that. So you just need to write file dot the image url. I think, let's see what is the field name, I forgot actually. So is image url only. Okay, perfect. So let me bring this to right side. Okay, so image url and let's save it now. Okay, now whenever you click on this file, it will open on new tab with the image url, right? And it happened for not only images but pdf as well, right? Let's try to upload the pdf in angular folder, right? So angular folder has one image. Let's see for the youtube. Okay, youtube don't have anything, so I will add new file, upload the file. Let's go to document. Let me find one pdf. Okay, so it has just qr. Let's upload this file, and if you see, the file has uploaded with the beautiful this pdf image, right? If I click on it, you'll see the pdf as well, right? It only have the qr code, but this is how it works. Okay, and it has a size of 0.03 MB and everything, right? You can even create folder inside this one. So you have create a new folder, youtube uh, thumbnail. Okay, and just create a folder. If you see, folder is also get created, and now you can upload your thumbnail over here. Okay, and this is how you can work. Okay, click on any image, it work, and every beautifully we are pretty much completed our application. 75% we completed, right? And until now, if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Only thing now is remaining is how to delete the particular folder. Okay, so what we can do, once you're in the folder, we will give the option to delete over here. Okay, and for this folder we will give option on the right hand side. And in order to delete these files, we will give option to delete here from here. Okay, so this functionality you can try on your own, and if you face any issue, let me know in the comment section, or you can check my source code anytime. Okay, and the delete functionality is quite simple. If you don't know, just type firebase document delete, and then you can find this particular document, right? And here you can use this particular code in order to delete or update the anything for in Firebase Firestore. Okay. Now let's implement the delete functionality for the particular file. So I updated this icon to delete box, and once we user click on this one, this particular file will be get deleted. Okay, so implement this functionality. So let's go to the file list, and here we are iterating this file item, right? So wrap this in one div, and so that we can add the on click method. Okay, and here we can add on click method. So on click, okay, here we will delete the file. So let's say delete file, and here we will pass the item. Okay, and here implement this method. So constant delete file here like this. Okay, so now if you go to the Firebase documentation, right here they define how to delete the file, right? So it's just one line to delete the particular file. So before that we have to initialize the db equal to get firestore. Here we have to provide app. Okay, and then inside this we have to write await delete doc. Okay, then you have to add doc. Make sure to import all these particular functions. Okay, inside that we have to provide database reference. Then we have to add the collection name, so in this case is files, right? And then the document id. Okay, so document id is our item which we are getting from here, right? And make this async as well, so we can call it as a file, no issue. And then we can call file dot id. Okay, and then it will get deleted. So you can write then method response, and inside of this one you can toast the message that file is deleted. Okay, so here you can do it. So what you need to do, obviously we need the toast message, right? So obviously we will use the toast context, right? So let me bring the toast context from somewhere. Show toast context. Oh, sorry, show toast. Okay. This context I will copy this from here, and then let's go back to our file list and paste it here. Make sure to import this use context as well as show toast context, and here we will just set show toast context. Inside that we will add the message file deleted like this and save it. And make sure when we are passing this id we convert it into string. Okay, because we are storing it file id as a integer. Okay, our number, and then you have to convert it into a string. Okay, once you do it, let's test it now. So let's go back to our application. Right now we have three files in this react folder. Okay, so you can just click on any of this file. For example, let's click on this file, and if you see this saying file deleted, and our screens also get updated. Okay, let's try it here. So let's delete this file. So now it's get deleted, right? But if you refresh it you will not see this around, right? Because this particular ui is not get updated when you are deleting the file. Okay, so you can also update it here. So let's go to index.js, and the same way that we updated, right? You can update this because you need to get this latest data, right? So you can pass some information so that you will get to know, okay, this file is get updated, right? Or the same way we did it for others, right? We use the toast message. So let's try to implement this. Is not good way, I will say, but for now we can implement it, right? Otherwise you have to do more coding for it, and we have some time issue. Okay, so let me go back here. Let me copy it, this toast message functionality, and let's go back to index.js, paste it here. So make sure to add this toast context. Okay, perfect, and save it. And I will just call this session again when the toast show toast message. So now if I try to delete any of this one, right? See, the list is get updated immediately. Okay, so I hope you understand this one, and this is work for all the files. Okay, only file, because we implement only for files. Now I'm giving you a task to delete the folder. Okay, it's quite easy. The same functionality you can use. Okay, the only you have to change the collection name, that's all. Okay, because the id is similar, we are storing the id. For example, if you go to the folder, for each folder we are storing this id, right? For same for the file also we are storing the id. So similar way, you have to do it for all the folders which you want to delete, and you can just add the delete button, okay, in front of this one, or you can put delete button to this one. Okay, so whenever user go to this folder, you will find the delete button in front of this one, and then you can delete it. Okay, and you face any issue, obviously, you can anytime you can access my source code to check the implementation. Now let's implement this storage section. So if you want to see, right, here we want to show the user information like user profile, the name, and the email address. Okay, and this beautiful animation of moving this particular icon. Okay, so on this right hand side we have to implement, right? Also, what we need to do when the screen size is larger or medium or larger, we want to show the storage at the right hand side. But when we decrease the screen size, we want to move the storage at this top of this particular section. Okay, so in order to fix this, right, let's go to the underscore app.js, and we have here storage section. Right here, just define uh, order first. Okay, so what it will do when the screen size is smaller, it will do the order first. Mean in the grid, it means it will show at the first time first. Okay, so if you see, storage come at the first. But when the screen size is medium, you can make order last. Okay, and save it. Now if I increase screen size, you see it's move to the right hand side, and that's what we wanted. Okay, so I hope you understand this one. So it's just ordering the column in a grid, okay, by using the order first and order last. Now let's go to the underscore app.js, and here I will create a new folder in the component. Okay, so let's create a new folder called storage, and inside the storage I will create a new component called user info.js. Okay, and add the default template, and make sure to add this user info in a storage data, right? So before that, I will create one more component here called storage.js. Okay, so this is our parent component for the storage, and inside the storage I will add the user info. Now we have the storage component as well. Now import the storage component inside the pages underscore app.js. Okay, so here we just return the storage. Here we will add the actual component called storage. Okay, and let's save it. And if you see, you got the user info, right? Because in storage we have the user info, right? Now let's add some information in user info. So first of all, we need to get the user information. It's quite easy, right? With the help of session. So write data colon session is equal to use session, right? And now you have the user information, correct? Now here you have to display the user information. Obviously, you can put the condition: if session is available, then only display the information. Okay, like this. Otherwise, don't show anything. Now, first of all, I will show the image. So add the image source, and inside the source we have session dot user dot email. Oh, sorry, the image, right? Provide the alt tag called user image. Then width you can provide 40, height you can provide 40, and save it. Right, as soon as save, you got the one error, right, which is saying the host name, this particular host name is not configured under the image in your next.config.js. Okay, so obviously copy this host name, which is the domain name, and go to the next.config.js. Okay, so inside this, right, you have to add the image field, and inside the image field uh, you have to add domains. Okay, so this is the we are telling the next year this is the whitelisted domain, and please allow in our application. Okay, so this is for the security purpose, you can say. Okay, once you update this next.config.js, make sure to rerun your project. Okay, So we'll if project is rerunning, we'll wait, we'll refresh the screen, and we'll wait for a few seconds. Okay, so hopefully we'll get the user image display on the screen. Okay, so still loading, and if you see the user image display on the screen. Okay, now let's add the image name. So I will add the h2 tag, and inside this I will add the session dot user dot name. Okay, and after that I will also add the user email like this. Okay, so bring everything in one line. Okay, so we want this in one together, so I will just add this within div. Okay, and then let me bring this like this. Okay, and then for this div I will add the class name, make it flex. Okay, so it will be like this, give some gap of 2 maybe. Okay, and make item to be in the center. For this image I will make a class name rounded full. Okay, and for this I'll make class name text of 15 pixel, and I will make font to be bold. And for this email I will make class name text of 13 pixel, and text I will make it little grayish. Okay, like this, and save it. So if you see, it's looking good, right? Also I will give margin top minus 4 pixel. Okay, you can do like this, and if you see, it's look good now. Okay, so now you have the user information ready. Okay, if you think okay, some use some more field you want, you can add it anytime. Okay, next we will add the icon, which is for setting, right? It's just for the UI purpose. You can add your own functionality if you want to add, but for now I will just add it uh, just for the look. Okay, so inside view, you can capture from the hero icon I already have, so I will paste it here. Okay, and also I added this text, means the color is in blue color, and on a hover it will spin it. Okay, so if I save it, you will see on hover it spin, right? Also let me add the background for it. So add class name, you add background blue of 200. Okay, and I will add padding of 2. Okay, and rounded I will make corner to be rounded. Oops. Rounded will be large. If I save it, it will look like this. Okay, so padding I will want to add 2 actually. Perfect. And make it cursor pointer when we hover on it, right? So if you see, it's making cursor pointer on a hover, and if I increase the size, it will look perfectly fine. Okay, at the location. So I hope you understand this one, how you we add user info and display it on the screen is quite easy, right? So next we will implement this particular bar. Okay, so it's showing the how much data are used by each of this category, right? So it's quite easy. Let's first of all in the go to the storage, and here we'll create a new component, so we can call as a storage info. Okay, so just create a new component called storage info.js. Okay, and add the default template. So make sure to add this template in a storage. So here under this one I will add storage info like this, and save everything. Make sure it's populating here. Okay, now inside this one, right, first of all we will add the bar. Okay, so it's quite easy. So let's me give some margin from the top at 7. 7 is too much, I don't know. Okay, and then we will add the bar. So here let's say div. Okay, and for this div I will give class name. Okay, first of all width is full, then we will give the background gray of 200. Okay, and if you see, I don't know whether displaying on the screen or not, but let's add some value here. Paste. You see, it's working, right? Just making sure. Then we can make rounded to be full. So where is rounded full? Here. Okay, and height I will add uh 2.5. Okay, so we are making the bar actually manually.
right? And that's all. Next we have to add some value inside this one, right? So what we can do, add the div. After this div, add the class name. Okay, and let me close this one. And inside that you can give the parameter. So in this case, for example, I give blue color, and I will also give the height which similar to the parent height. And then we can mention the width. So this width will be in the percentage, so how much width you want to show, right? And if you see, it look like this. Okay, so you can also make the corner rounded, but I'll keep as it is. Okay, so I don't want rounded full, actually we'll make like this. Okay, so copy this one, and how many category you have, you can paste it like this. Okay, and just change this color to, for example, green. Here you can change to yellow, and here you can change the percentage. So for example, I can give 35, 15, save it. But if you see, it will be not in one line, right? So to bring it in one line, make it flex. Now it will be in one line. Okay, so this is how it works. So let me change this color combination for this quite dark. Okay, yeah, like this. This is how it works. Now let's implement the upper section like this, right? The how many MB and everything. So to implement this one, again it's very straightforward. So I will just copy paste with my existing code and paste it here. So inside h2 tag, it's only h2 one h2 tag I'm using, and I use the span as well. Okay, and let me remove this one, and I will add, for example, uh, 56 2 GB, for example, right? We will replace with the actual value, and if I save it, it will look like this. Correct. Use some space. Okay, so in order to give space, you can give space like this as well. Okay, see, it's work. So I hope you understand this one. It's quite straightforward. Only thing is to make this bar, right? And then we actually replace the information, that the width depends on the calculation what we calculate from the size of which we have in the storage, and then we can display it on the screen. Now let's update this size with the actual information, actual data which we have, right? So first of all, we need to fetch all the files which we have in our Firestore, right? So what you have to do, go to the constant, and here you can define one method called get files. Okay, make this async like this. Okay, and obviously you have to mention the db fire get Firestore. Okay, and provide the app like this. Okay, and then you have to write the query. Okay, so just write constant query is equal to query, make sure to import it, and inside that we have collection. So pass the reference, then you have to provide the collection name, so in this case it's files, and then you have to provide the where condition. Okay, so you can, okay, so outside of this you can define the where condition, but where. Okay, so inside this condition, if you see, let me go to the application, right? And this is our files. Correct. So in this one, if you see, we have the created by as a field, right? So use this field to fetch that particular user's files, right? So we'll say created by is equal to comma, and then we will fetch with the session information, right? Right now we don't have session information. You can define here session is equal to use session like this. Okay, and then here you can provide the session dot user dot email like this. Okay, and once we have this one, our query is ready. Obviously just make sure to add this, obviously you have to execute this query and put it in snapshot, and then we will run this snapshot. Okay, so here you have to write query snapshot. Okay, make sure to import this get docs as well, dot for each, right? Because we got the list of document, and just you have to print it out. Okay, so for now we will just console it.
So let's console.log, and let's say document.id, okay, comma, we will also give the document.data, and from that data we'll get the size. Just we will print the size, so I will define like this, okay, because this is a field. And let's try whether we are getting the data or not. Obviously we have to call it this one in use effect. So we have to call this use effect whenever the session is available, right? So here we can say if session is there, then only call this get all files, okay, and save it. Now let's go back to our application and go to the inspect panel. In the console we will check it out. If you see, we have only three files, and the three file size is displaying on the screen, okay. So if you go back here in the files, we have only three files, okay, perfect. So that is working perfectly fine. We are able to get the size, okay. Now what we can do, we will add all this size in one variable, right? So I will define one variable called constant total size is equal to, here we will define 0 initially, okay. So I will define it here, okay. So total size, okay, so it need to be actually not constant, let, and every time when the data loads, we will initialize the total size is equal to 0, okay. And then inside this particular for each, right, we will add total size is equal to total size, because we want the previous size plus the new size which we are adding, so this one, right, like this. And once we have this data, right, we will just calculate the value in the MB, or you can do it in GB as well, but right now for the simplicity purpose I will put the logic of MB on MB only, right? So this is the logic, okay, to implement it. Or just what I will do, I will just print out the value once we have the everything ready, right? So here is the total size divided by 1024 into 22 to fix, okay. I want two decimal only, and we are attaching this MB as well, right? And if I save it and let's test it now. If I go back here, and if you see, we got this in the MB form, right? The addition of this one and some calculation, because this is in the byte format, right? And we convert it into a actual MB format. Now what we can do, we just replace this 2 GB with this particular value, right? So let's go back here, because we already have MB, we don't need to provide this GB value, and we have total size, so bring this, okay. So here we'll add total size like this, and if I save it, uh oh, why it's showing the zero use, okay. So let me see, so it's showing 0.24, and here it's showing total size, okay. So maybe it's total size, it's not executing from here. So okay, so here because it's constant, right, we have to update the value. So what we have to do, uh, you can set the value, because we have to set this value. So define constant and state, so let's total size, okay, remain, or you can do total size use, comma, set total size use equal to use state, initial value is 0, and just you set this total size. So here I will set this value like this, okay. And now you can use the total size use. Let's save it, let's check whether we are getting correct information or not. So if you see, we got the 0.24 MB use of 5 GB, okay. So this is how it works, okay. Now next what you can do, you can try this one. We are already have the all the files, right? You just need to get the size of each images or video document author, because we already storing the information in the form of type, right? So if you go back to our application, if you open any data, right, we have this type, right? And from the type you can get to know whether this is of image type or video type or document type, right? You have to add some extension, and then you have to filter it out. This is quite easy, you can just try it, okay. And if you face any issue, let me know in the comment section. So we pretty much completed this application, okay, and I made some updates, which is not a big update, but you can anytime you can access my this particular source code, okay. For example, whenever this user is log out, right, we don't want to show this navigation bar or this storage section, right, and for this one, if you go to storage, right, I just accessing this data and I'm adding this session, okay, whether this session is available, then only show this particular storage. And same thing I added for this navigation bar as well, okay. If you see here, I added this one, okay. So add condition, if session is there, then only we will get this side navigation. So let's test this quickly and let's check everything is working, okay. So right now let's log out, okay, and we will start from the application. So this is the home page, this is the login button. So once you click on login, you will get the option to sign in with Google. Here we have a bunch of option to select it, okay, and select any of the option. So I select one account, and once you log in, you will see the site navigation as well as storage as well on the left right, and we have the middle section, correct. That's what we wanted. Now first let's try to upload new file. So I will click the file, open new file. I will click any of this. So I will upload this one. So just click on this one, click say open, and within a few seconds, millisecond actually, you uploaded, right. So if you see, everything is getting show, so the size and everything, right. If I open this one, you will see the file is also opening, okay. Next let's try to create a folder. So I will create a Figma design folder, okay, and just say create. As soon as you create, you will get the Figma design folder, okay. Inside that also, if you click on it, you're in the inside folder called Figma design. Create a new folder called um, thumbnail and click create. So see, it's created, okay. If you want to add new file in this Figma design, just click on a new file, click add, and then you can add any of the file like this, okay. If I add it, see, the file is get added. Let me refresh it sometimes, yeah. So only one need to be display, right. Then you can open that file, okay, anytime. And if you don't want this particular folder, right, in the thumbnail folder, you can have option to delete it. If you delete it, it will only go back to the previous page and the folder is empty now, okay. Only these files are there, okay. So this is how it works. And let's go back to home page. Also I added this on click functionality for this cloud image and this home, okay. Right now obviously these are not we did not implemented this functionality, but you can go ahead and implement it, okay. And here if you see the total of these particular files along with the files which are in this one, right, the storage is showing 1.44 MB, okay. And these are the just the dummy one. And then we have the need for space, which is just a dummy message or notification, we can say, okay. So this is how we display everything. So if you have any question regarding this one, let me know in the comment section. I'm happy to help you. And also you can access this source code free on my GitHub. So the link is in the description, okay. And now you can also join my channel as well. So guys, if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. And that's all for this particular course. Next course will be on the startup we are going to build, okay. So I'm gonna teach you how to build startup products. So we will develop the series so that we can develop the some products which is quite useful or quite interesting to start your own small startup, okay. So that series will be very interesting. And if you did not subscribe to my channel, please do subscribe. If you like this video, press like buttons and share this particular video with your friends and family. I hope this SaaS project you like it. And this is the just small section of this particular project, but you can implement more section, like you can give upgrade plan, you can give the um, assign some particular storage to the particular user, and lot of things, okay. So guys, see you in the next course.